Third at one point, comes home in P6 to cap off a good weekend for her. Then Seth Mason-Hayward comes back in P7. Annabelle McCarthy in P8. Peyton Richards is P9. Josh Perkins and Archie Hooper are P10-11. Harley Baker, I think, had a fall as well on the last lap because he's down in P12. Matty Jennings will be P13. Taylor Riley will be P13. Oliver Hall, unfortunately, as we saw, falling early on, but he waves the checkered flag as a show of spirit for his colleagues out on track.
Oh, look, Oh yeah, if Matthew would have got this first place, he would have took my second in the championship, he would.
So there was no bias whatsoever in this AC40 rookies. We weren't watching Zach Pennegar jumping up for joy as Rex Austin got past, and well, he takes the win ahead of Matthew Thomas. Bradley Curtis has broken the heart of Chloe Gleason. She just misses out on the debut podium. Bradley finishes in third place, Chloe in fourth, and Jensen Bishop the top five. And we say a big thank you to Speed Pennegar. Thank you very much for joining us, Zach. Great to have you in the commentary box all weekend long. Hopefully your arm fixes up, or your collarbone fixes up shortly, and we'll see you back out on track as soon as possible. I just saw
Rex did a little wheeling pit.
Well, that is Speed Pennegar. He'll be hopefully back out on circuit next time around, and what a fantastic debut in the commentary box for Speed Pennegar there. It's great to have Zach around. He's, as you can hear, Ross, a real character, and he's such a nice little lad. Really has come out of his shell in the last year.
Oh, of course he has. No, he's been great fun to have here. Obviously, we wish him a speedy recovery for Speed Pennegar, but he's been a great fun, and he's done a really good job behind the mic all weekend. Obviously, he got very unlucky with that big fall on Friday, breaking his collarbone, and apparently the only time he cried is when he told that he wouldn't be able to race, and that was obviously going to possibly cost him a good shot at the championship. He was putting a brave face through the whole ordeal, so obviously he's done very well there, and he's been really brave, and he's done very well behind the microphone as well. And it's been great to see him out here, still showing support for his colleagues out on track. Obviously, totally no bias whatsoever towards a few of the riders who may be assisting him in his own championship bid. But nonetheless, it is been a very, very enjoyable experience to have Zach up here. So obviously, thanks for coming up, Zach. It's been great. And now I do believe we're going to have the GP50s out for their race 3. And well, it should be a pretty interesting one after we've had a very interesting couple of races for the 50s overall.
Yeah, we have indeed. And well, we'll get into that very, very shortly as they start to roll out onto the grid in a moment's time. Thank you very much for everyone joining us this afternoon here from the 5th round of the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships. We are here from Rowrah up in the Lake District. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's a beautiful circuit built into an old quarry, built in 1963. Has been the home for bikes and for karts for many, many years, and given us some fantastic racing. Possibly one of the most beautiful short tracks and kart tracks in the country, and probably only rivals Anglesey for overall. It is a really lovely place to be. Well, hopefully you're watching wherever you're watching around the world, and you're enjoying yourself a Sunday afternoon. We've got plenty more racing to come, all of the race 3s for everyone. My name is Gareth Hall. I've been joined by Ross McIntyre this weekend, making his commentary debut. And, well, make sure you drop into the comments and show everyone some love that's been out there racing in some very difficult conditions. Of course, do all the good stuff you do on social media, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff you do. And equally, show some love and support. And thanks to Zach Pennegar, who did a fantastic job on commentary. Well, next up, we have got the MKGP50s, and it will be Marco Holt lining up on pole position with Clayton Edmonds in second position. Archie Gibbs back in third with Harry Payne in fourth. Bill Harris and Isaiah Devine in fifth and sixth position with Byron Johnson and Luke Fitchett seventh and eighth. Row 5, Noah Guillory and Austin Johnson are a 10-bike grid. And, well, Marco Holt, who went down in race 2, he lost the win to Clayton Edmonds. So it's 1 win apiece for Holt and Edmonds in this weekend. What do we see from race 3? Who can get the edge, leaving Rowrah and going to round 6 at Ella Park in around about 5 or 6 weeks' time?
Well, obviously Holt, he had that massive down in race 2, and that's going to have dented his confidence coming into the wet race 3. Of course, he's going to, at the back of his mind be thinking, I really don't want to fall this race. I can't afford to fall this race. Then when you've got that mentality, it's really hard to, stay focused because you're just thinking about protecting yourself. But obviously, there are races. Once it kicks off, once he settles into a rhythm, I'm sure he'll be absolutely rapid, as always, as the bikes start to line up on the grid. But of course, Clayton Edmonds, he's a phenomenal rider as well. So we just have to wait and see who's going to get the better jump away from the light, who's going to get the better result here in race 3 in the Mini GP 50s. We're just waiting for the lights to go on, and they do so now. And the light is out, and away we go. And it seems to be that Marco Holt gets a very, very strong start, jumps ahead of Clayton Edmonds into turn 1, and it's all the way clean, but it is Marco Holt who gets the better of the start. We saw that in race 2. Now we just need to keep hold of that as they head into the hairpin for the first time. Very slippery round here, so they're all tentatively trying to find the grip. It is still just as wet as it was this morning, if not more, because the rain has still been falling. Away they head into Arsdale's hairpin. Marco Holt already has a bit of a lead. Oh no, and down goes Clayton Edmonds. Clayton Edmonds falls off down at Arsdale, rushes to get back on the bike. That is a disaster for Clayton Edmonds.
Yeah, a real shame there for the man leading the championship. He's going to lose some serious points if Marco Holt can hold on to it, but we know, as you say, just how difficult the conditions are at the moment. So, well, that promotes Marco Holt up into the lead. Archie Gibbs now into second, and Harry Payne up into a podium position. Harry, who's starting to streak away from the rest of the field. So it's been a great start from Harry. Once again, Harry Payne, who in the 50s is really coming alive in this second half of the season. He's managed to finish inside the top 4 for the previous, I think it's 11 races Harry's been doing. So it's a solidly amount of consistency on the bike for Harry Payne, but it is Marco Holt leading Archie Gibbs. Of course, Archie in his first season on the Metric Kit MKGP 50s, he moved up back at Red Lodge. So this is only his 3rd round, and he's already on the pace and doing a good job so far, just holding on to the back end of Marco Holt. The gap's around about 2 seconds. It may have just dipped above 2 seconds last time around, but you can see he's the leading trio split by around about 3 seconds each. So well, they could just focus on their races as behind their changes for position, as that's the 41 of Noah Giri getting past Luke Fritchett, follows them through at the hairpin as they go up the back straight towards the back end of the circuit. Very, very slippery up there, incredibly slippery. A lot of the wood chips have been kicked onto the road as well. A lot of mud kicked out from the pit bike race as well. And, well, these guys are doing a masterful job keeping it up on 2 wheels, because we've already seen multiple bikes go down this weekend throughout the rest, well, the majority of today. Of course, we've had a wet session all day today, and that's a slow exit there, I think, for Byron Johnson, as he makes his way through the back end of the circuit and into the final corner. But up to the line, Marco Holt fast this time around. A 1 minute 0 has put him 5 seconds, in fact 5.5 seconds ahead of Archie Gibbs. Harry Payne now is 5 seconds back from Archie Gibbs, so you can see the top 3 are all pretty evenly split. Then Bill Harris, Byron Johnson, who's having a good run, a little bit slow in that last lap, but he's made up for it by getting a good start to this next lap, as we've got 9 laps on this, as I said, lap in about 3.5 sentences there. But there's Byron Johnson from Noah Guillory, Isaiah Devine, Luke Fitchett, and unfortunately Clayton Edmonds going down to the back of the order after going down on lap 1. The championship leader, the man that started in second, race winner in race 2. Well, he's got an absolute mountain to climb if he's to haul back some decent points.
Well, this is the exact opposite of what happened in race 2. Marco Holt went down and Clayton Edmonds went on to win that one. Now it's Clayton's turn to have the disaster, but we know he's very, very quick, and he's still running around. The bike doesn't appear to be damaged, so I'm sure that he'll be trying to climb his way back up the order as quick as he can. Marco Holt, though, has just bolted off into the distance. 7.5 seconds now to Archie Gibbs behind. He's lapping 2 seconds faster than Gibbs in second place, 3 seconds faster than Harry Payne in P3. He is by far the fastest rider out on circuit at the moment, and this is already a very dominant performance, and we've still got about half the race to go here at Rowrah. And this would cap off a very strong weekend for Marco Holt. Race 1 win, race 3 win, and that's what he needs looking forward in the championship as well, as he seeks to try and catch up to Clayton Edmonds.
Yeah, it's been a stunning run so far for Marco. Of course, a lot of racing left to go, 7.5 laps, and well, that's about to become 7, as here he comes up to the line. Is Marco Holt taking the well, he's around about half distance, and well, Marco last time around a 1 minute 6. He is 2.5 seconds faster than anyone else on circuit. But Archie Gibbs in second place, doing a great job so far. The young rider from Tewkesbury, he's holding on to second place. Another podium possibly on the cards for Archie, to add to what the ones that we've seen from him already this season in a couple of the rounds previous. So yeah, watch out for Archie Gibbs, because he's definitely getting more and more confident with every single run on that Metric MKGP 50 bike. He's already picked up 3 podiums since joining the category. And he's now got a 7.5 second lead over Harry Payne. Harry, equally, who is having a really, really strong season on that bike, and the 11 is now 13 and a half seconds away from Bill Harris. Bill Harris, of course, younger brother to Ronnie Harris, who we'll see in the 70s later on. Byron Johnson, who's making his move up onto the GP bikes. He's done a couple of races recently, and he's done a good job of it after we've seen a lot of Byron and Austin Johnson in the likes of the AC40 rookies, and then the AC40 pros and the LC40 elites, and it's great to see that natural progression you see throughout FAB as they make their way throughout or climbing that ladder all the way through, and of course everyone aiming for the BSB paddock, the likes of the British Talent Cup, and all the way through the likes of GP2, and of course up to BSB, and eventually becoming the next MotoGP star. Of course, we are part of Dorna's Road to MotoGP, an official partner to the BSB. And FAB-Racing has been the home for so many champions in the past. And, well, it is given the grids up at the British Talent Cup a rider in every single year since its inception, especially the Red Bull rookies as well, has had a FAB graduate. We've seen the likes of Johnny Garnett, Lucas Brown, Casey O'Gorman, Evan Belford making their way through FAB. And, of course, Danny Kent, Scott Redding are your big names. Brad Ray, another one that's come through FAB and made their way up to BSB and have been very, very successful. Can Marco Holt add his name to that list? The 58 leading away now, and well, that lap has been growing every single. That lead has been growing every single lap now. Archie Gibbs still to take the line. There we go, 14.5 seconds. Marco Holt is on a different planet to everyone else.
Oh, he certainly is. He is absolutely on it right now. You know, and again, see here, Clayton Edmonds is another rider. Obviously, he started from second as well. He's managed to work his way up to P7. He's still off the pace in comparison to Holt's lap time, but, you know, I suspect he's going to have a bit of a confidence knock with his tumble, or the bike might have a bit of damage, but he is slowly clawing his way back up, gaining those points that he so desperately needs. But Holt is just absolutely soaring at the moment. Best lap time of a 1 minute dead, .036. That was 2 and a bit seconds faster than anybody else on the circuit, and he is just doing phenomenally. Archie Gibbs as well is doing a very good job. He's still banging in the laps. Harry Payne as well. He had a big tumble this morning in the warm-up. Really knocked the wind out of him. Actually, brought out the red flag. So to get back on the bike and then be in P3 as well, that is a huge display of courage and confidence, and, you know, really shows that he really wants to do well here.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic run for Harry there. One of the smiliest lads in the paddock. Really enjoy every time I get a chance to have a chat with him pre-race and post-race as well. But Marco Holt, 4 laps left to go, leading from Archie Gibbs. 16 seconds is now the lead. Harry Payne is just come across and is 9 seconds away from Archie Gibbs. Archie, if he can keep it on 2 wheels, should be coming home to pick up a second place and matching his best result, which he picked up back at Red Lodge and at Clay, where he picked up 1 second place in each one of those 2 rounds. Then we've got Clayton Edmonds, who's now made his way past Byron. So Clayton is very much on an absolute warpath. He's now only 3.2 seconds behind Bill Harris and was 3 seconds faster that last time around. And in fact, it means that 3 second advantage is now 0.3 of a second. And they're coming up to their hairpin. And, well, Clayton Edmonds is looking at getting a move done. In fact, he does get the move done. So Clayton Edmonds, after going down on lap 1, falling to the back of the order, now finds himself in 4th position. So this is huge for Clayton, trying to reclaim some points in the championship that Marco's going to take away from him.
Yeah, it certainly is. Obviously, he had that tumble very early on, and he'll want to do well. Something I just want to note, though, I'll just double-check if it comes up on timing. I believe Marco Holt had a tumble. Yes, he did. I saw him over in the first hairpin. The gap now down from 14 seconds to 1.2. I saw him go down, but I wasn't sure if it was him. I wanted to make sure. So he still held on to the lead, such was his lead, but Marco Holt also not immune to the weather out there. But yeah, Clayton Edmonds up to P5, fighting for P4. That is very, very important for his championship. Marco Holt is on track currently, of course, touch with nothing else happens to him, to take a second win of the weekend and close that gap even further. So Clayton will need absolutely everything he's got to bring the biggest amount of points he can from this race and to maximise the output from this weekend. Obviously, having a tumble on the first lap is the worst time to have it because everybody is so close together, you just lose positions like that, and he has got past Bill Harris now, so that's great to see. And then we can see Marco trying to lap the number 7 of Luke Fitchett and getting a bit tight there. Just, you know, obviously there's no blue flags here at FAB-Racing. You've got to make your own way past. So if the bike you're trying to lap has all obligation just to close the door on you if they really feel like it. Of course, I'm sure that no one would intentionally do that. but you know, you have no obligation to dive out of the way of the faster bike behind you, so you have to find your own way through if you are Marco Holt, Archie Gibbs and Harry Payne as well, who is not too far behind them as it stands, only 10 seconds off of Archie Gibbs. Holt, though, that gap is now starting to be built up again, so he's still continuing where he left off even after that fall.
Yeah, doing a great job is Marco Holt. Archie Gibbs 1.9 behind last time around. We'll see what it is as they go around to shortly start the final lap. Marco Holt, who, well, he's led from start to finish, and even with a fall has managed to hold on to this lead. Archie Gibbs, I'm sure, will be delighted with a podium. And Harry Payne, well, he should be coming home. It looks as though Clayton, that's as far as he's going to go. There's a 10-second gap between Clayton and Harry, so good friends off the circuit. Well, Harry looks as though he's going to get one over on Clayton due to Clayton going down at Ardale's hairpin on lap 1, but he's been on such a mission since then. And Marco Holt challenging away, and he takes up to the final. Just seeing if he's coming. Yeah, so he's coming and taking the last lap flag. So yeah, Marco Holt taking the final lap. You got yellow flag with the cross between it, and one more tour of this circuit, and one more tour for Marco. Well, it's been easy for him apart from a fall. You think surely with that fall he's like, oh, surely there should be someone behind me. But Archie Gibbs has been closing in, but it's not quite enough. He's now gapped him in that previous lap 4 seconds faster.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Marco had a fall in race 2 as well, and that was a lot more detrimental because he decided to fall on lap 1. This time he decided to fall in a 14-second lead, so it was a bit nicer to his race hopes. He's still in the lead of the race, of course, and I think we can see there he is just coming around now into the final section. I believe we also may have lost Noah Guillory. He may have got going again. I'm not sure. He was pulled off to the side of the road, but it's been one amazing performance from Marco Holt once again as he rounds the final corner. It's going to be 2 wins out of 3. It's going to be a race-winning 3 win for Marco Holt in the Mini GP50s. What a performance. It's a fall and a win, and he still finishes in front of Archie Gibbs by a long way. Even with a fall like that, it's an 8-second gap at the line. Archie Gibbs, though, what a performance he's had as well to take home second. It will be Harry Payne with a very nice 3rd place, especially after that big tumble this morning. And that's a lot of courage to step back onto the bike. Clayton Edmonds is going to come home in P4. What a comeback he's had. That is a lot of points that he will very much enjoy when he takes that P4. It will be Bill Harris in P5 as well. Byron Johnson will come home in P6. And it's Isaiah Devine in 7th, Luke Fitch in 8th, and Noah Guillory did get going again at the end, but he is 9th, unfortunately, after he had that off at the downhill right-hander. But what a performance there from Marco Holt to take a win with a fall and then still finish 8 seconds ahead of Archie Gibbs.
Yep, 2-1 Marco Holt versus Clayton Edmonds, and they've all gone down the same amount of times, unfortunately. Marco going down in race 1, Clayton going down in Marco going down in race 2. Marco going down. There we go. They'll get there eventually. However, what we do know is Marco Holt has won 2 races and Clayton's won 1. There we go. That would have been a much easier way to explain that all. But, well, that's MKGP50s done for this weekend. They'll be back in Ella Park in around about a month and a half's time when we head over back to East Anglia and over to that part of the world. Really looking forward to that one. Ella's a lovely circuit. A lot of riders always enjoy going to. Very tight and compact, and offers up some fantastic overtaking opportunities. Well, MK50's done. Marco Holt takes the spoils in this one. Archie Gibbs in 2nd. Harry Payne, your podium for this 3rd race of the weekend. So we say goodbye to the 50s and we say welcome back to the seniors, because the senior mini motos will be making their way out on circuit shortly. So we've got the likes of Bernie Hook, we've got Josh and Matt Birkin, we've got Nick Bennett, and well, race 2, Ross saw everything. It seemed that everyone seemed to spend at some point of the race on the floor.
It was absolute chaos. I mean, the seniors always is one of the most exciting races of the weekend. Race 2 was absolutely no exception. Everybody had a tumble at some point. It was when the track was at its worst. There was oil at a few corners, I think, that had been left behind by the 50s, I think, especially down at Arsdale Hairpin. And it was just, everyone was coming in and going straight off the bike. It was absolutely crazy, and it just turned into an absolute race of attrition of who could stay on the bike for the longest amount of time. And it was honestly such a crazy race. And of course, we'd love a crazy race here at race 3 here in the seniors. Of course, we hope no one ends up on the floor as much, because that's never too good, and it hurts a bit as well. And obviously, we don't want anybody getting hurt, but still, it's put a lot of expectation on race 3.
It has indeed, but as they line up to take their green flag lap, and it will be Matt Birkin lining up on pole position. Bernie Hook, reigning champion, in second position as Bernie pops a wheelie going down into T1. Then we got row 2, Josh Birkin, Simon Huntingford, Nick Bennett and Ashley Thompson are row 3, with row 4 being Mark Payne and Keaton Payne. Row 5, Ross Michael and Callum White in a 10-bike grid here for the senior mini motos. Watch out for the Birkins. They we've got a bike off down at the far end as it looks as though down into the hairpin, just maybe not a full, but the bike maybe just getting away from him. It already shows you that there's tricky conditions out there. They've had a relax over the lunch period and forgot, it's actually quite slippery out there. I need to be a little bit more careful. Well, we've seen in race 1 and race 2 that things can go wrong in senior motos, and race 2 was full of action. And, Matt and Josh Birkin going down multiple times in that one. Nick Bennett looking as though he was on for a decent result. Unfortunately, he had a couple of falls as well. And, what can happen in this one? We will find out. Make sure you drop into the comments and let us know. Make some predictions. Where's this one going to go? Of course, it's great to see you all enjoying the racing and supporting all the categories from the 6-year-olds all the way up to the adults that have got a 6 in the age somewhere, but I won't say what the number in front of it is. But, Ross, I'll let you take the seniors away for their third and final race of the weekend. Of course, it's Birkin and Hook lining up on the front row as we wait for the last rider to come around. Everyone looks around. There was a few falls again on the formation lap. As we saw in race 2, everyone's turning around going, what happened to you guys? Come on, I stayed on the bike. Surely you can as well. We wait for the light to come on. It does so now. The light goes out and we're underway. It's a very good start there for Bernie Hook from P2. Takes the lead from Birkin on the way into turn 1. And it is Hook, Birkin, the two very similarly clad brothers as they head through. But it's all clean through the first turn. Hook leading the way down into the hairpin. This is where it's going to get interesting. This is where it's slippy on these bikes. Let's hope we all make it through rather cleanly. Looks like we do. It is still Hook leading the way, and most importantly, everyone has made it through the first hairpin. But now down into Arnsdale again. There was swapping positions. I believe that was Josh Birkin losing out their P3. And as they head out, again, looks like we're all clean on the first lap, which makes a change from race 2. Yeah, it does. It's a great start there from Nick Bennett. He's got past both the Birkins on the opening lap, so moving up from 4th into 2nd. But it's Bernie Hook that's got away at the front. But it's, there you go. There's the red bike, the 711 of Nick Bennett, who's closing in now on Bernie Hook. Bernie, who's maybe not having the season he was hoping for. We're used to seeing him being pretty solidly leading the way usually. But, this time around, he's just doing what he does best and just trying to hold on and, pick up consistent points. That's how he got his championship last season. But Nick Bennett now really starting to put the pressure on. But the Birkins are going with them, so we've got a breakaway quad of riders as they go down towards the hairpin at McRae's for the first time. For the second time. There we go. I'll count the laps eventually. But, the 711 chases the 0. Then we've got the Battle of the Birkins. And we know those two do not like to be beaten by either one. They're quite happy or getting the knees out, getting an elbow out. And we've often seen them driving down the straights with one hand on the back, saying, just pushing them along, go, come on, let's go a little bit quicker. And maybe even sometimes giving you a little bit of a push into the corners and saying, well, you can go down now and I'll carry on and take your position. But it's Bernie Hook leading away from Nick Bennett in first and second position. Then we've got the Battle of the Birkins. Matt and Josh fighting over position there. Nick Bennett last time around, a 1:03.9. fastest lap of the race, but behind the battle is still going to go on for the final step of the podium. They've broken away from Mark Payne, who's down in 5th position, Simon Huntingford down in 6th, Keaton Payne, Ashley Thompson and Callum White. Indeed, it looks like Bennett is still closing that gap. He had a really bad last corner. He was all over the back of Hook coming into the final section and just through the last corner lost a lot of time. Josh Birkin now with the fastest lap of the race. It's a 1:02.307, and suddenly out of nowhere this group has closed right back up. It looked like Hook and Bennett were going to streak off into the distance again. The Birkins looking like they're going to swap positions just for a moment. It's still Matt that leads the way of the two, but Bernie Hook taking advantage of the battles going on behind him, going, thank you very much, guys, you do that and I'll streak off into the distance. Looks like Bennett is very, very quick through the middle sector and is just losing it out, just maybe following Bernie Hook through the last section, just losing it out a little bit. The Birkins getting very close as well, coming into the final downhill section, and it's still Matt leading Josh having a look to the inside on that number 4 machine, but it's still Matt holding strong. Bernie Hook still leading the way though as they come round to the end of this lap, and again, look how close, and that's Josh having a look down the inside. That is very, very brave.
wave as we then cut away to some other riders. Unfortunately, there we go. They have those swap position. I don't think they have. No, they haven't as they cross the line, but it's now Nick Bennett with the fastest lap of the race, so 109.971.
Yeah, but it's a slow run out of turn 2 there for for Matt Birkin, and that's going to open the door for his brother to go down the inside. Oh, in fact, they make the most of it. Oh, big high side there for the number 5. That's Matt Birkin. The same as what we saw in race 2 as he gets back underway. He tried to go down the inside of Nick Bennett into McRae's hairpin, got on the power. The bike wasn't having any of it at all. And, well, that's going to possibly call curtains on his challenge for a podium, and that promotes Bernie Hook, Nick Bennett and Matt Birkin into your top 3. And Nick, the rider from Farnborough, well, he's now, quite fortuitously held on to second position, but it is now only one of the Birkins. It's Josh chasing him down. Of course, Josh, who we'll see later on in the Moto team class as well, riding on Jamie King's bike, moving up from the mini motos onto a geared bike. And he said he's enjoying it yesterday, so let's see if he can add a podium in the senior mini motos to the podiums he's picked up in the moto teams this weekend. But, well, 5 laps left to go. It's Bernie Hook from Nick Bennett, from Josh Birkin, and the 3 of them, it was 4, but they've been attached to each other by a small string for the entire race.
Yeah, indeed, they had very unlucky there for Matt Birkin. Pulled off some very impressive acrobatics by somehow landing on his feet off the high side. But, very impressive stuff there from these front 3. Talking about very wide from Bernie Hook, just deep into Arnsdale. That's going to allow a lot of momentum from Nick Bennett. He's going to try and go around the outside. Is he going to try and get the move done? No. Hook shuts the door firmly into the final section. That's then going to allow Josh Birkin to get a big run onto the back section. Now coming down into this downhill right, left, very, very tricky, very, very wet as well. This is one of the wettest parts of the circuit. As they head through, you could barely separate these guys with a sheet of paper. Look how close Josh Birkin is, almost their wheels touching there as they headed through the left-hander. Bernie Hook having to ride defensively, and that's compromising his entry into the final corner. Crossing the line again, 4 more laps to go, and it's Birkin and Bennett side by side. Bennett still holds out for the time being, and all while this is going on, Hook should be sprinting off into the distance, but he just can't seem to shake the guys behind him. They're sticking with him even while they're battling. This is phenomenal stuff in the senior mini motos.
Yeah, Bernie Hook doing what Bernie Hook does and just staying with them. Let's play, guys. Let's have a race. And you can see tucking in there as they trying to minimise the drag going down towards Ardale's hairpin. Well, 4 laps left to go. Josh Birkin starting to put the pressure on the 7-11 of Nick Bennett now, and they're chasing down race leader and championship leader Bernie Hook. Bernie, who took provisionally the race win in race 1 yesterday, however, non-classification. Big crash there. 2nd and 3rd go down. That's Nick Bennett and Josh Birkin. It was just Nick Bennett losing the bike. He collected Josh Birkin. That's going to promote Matt up into 3rd position. Josh down the order. A real shame there for Josh Birkin. It was going so well for him. He was looking as though he was going to be able to challenge in the final stages of this one, but just the slightest of mistakes and it's all come apart. Nick Bennett now under threat from Matt Birkin. Who would have thought that Matt Birkin could potentially get a 2nd place out of this one?
No idea what happened there. I believe Bennett just went down and Josh had absolutely nowhere to go, straight over the top of his bike, and down they both went. But yeah, Matt Birkin now fighting for P2. Bernie Hook's now got 7 seconds behind. He can just cruise to the end of this race now. He's had all that pressure just completely taken off his shoulders, so he's laughing all the way to the cleaners. Meanwhile, Nick Bennett's now under pressure from the other Birkin, and honestly, this could go anywhere, because look at the pace that Matt Birkin's got here. He's all over the back of Nick Bennett, who's now maybe struggling with the confidence there, because now he's gone down once. Once you go down once, then at the back of that mind, there's just that small niggle. You know, you're thinking to yourself, I don't want to go down again. Your confidence is dented. You start to worry. You start to get paranoid about your own abilities. It's a really weird phenomenon, but it definitely happens. And Bennett is starting to streak away, but there will be that small bit at the back of the mind. It's just he's riding a bit more cautiously now.
I think you laugh all the way to the bank, not to the cleaners. You take it to the cleaners. Why are you laughing to the cleaners?
I combined the 2 sentences by accident.
Well, it worked, and then it's working for Bernie Hook. He's leading this one with 2 laps left to go. Oh, no! Bennett down again. That's the 2nd time in 3 laps. Nick Bennett falls out of 2nd position. This time around, he doesn't collect one of the Birkins, so it's going to drop him potentially off the podium. It does. The man has been in 2nd position the entire race. Now finds himself in 4th on the penultimate lap. Bernie Hook has a quick glance behind him, and it's not the same person again. So he's, Bernie, who does his usual racing style, where as soon as it starts to get a little bit easy, he just lifts the visor on his lid, so he gets a little bit of fresh air here, where you get the breeze of the Lake District coming through the visor, keeping everything clean and keeping everything clear. Well, he's just going to keep on 2 wheels for about a lap and a half more here, the senior mini motos, and Bernie will be going home very happy. His race 1 wasn't classified, due to a red flag coming out. They've been offered a race 3 at the end of the day. We're not sure if they'll take it or not, but I'm sure they'll all prefer to shoot off home. But they do enjoy being out on circuit. But we're coming on to the final lap. Bernie Hook looking at picking up his first official win since round 2 back at Lid. That bumper weekend where we had 60 races in one weekend. And, well, it was round 2, race 1. Since then, he's been on the podium multiple times, but he's yet to win. Didn't win at Red Lodge, didn't win at Clay. And looking as though he's going to win here at Rowrah and, well, get that championship challenge back into gear, because it's been knocked down and down and down by Josh Birkin. Josh Birkin, who's been trying to attack. Matt Birkin's been trying to attack this time around. Once again, the Birkins doing what their Birkins do and, well, sliding, slipping and falling and, well, still somehow managing to come back and pick up some positions, because Josh Birkin, last lap around 1:01.7, fastest lap of the race. He's trying to close in on his brother. However, 3.5 seconds on this last lap. Looks as though it's not going to be enough, and it looks as though time might run out. Well, time's not going to run out for Bernie Hook. He is going to come around. He had a 4.6 second advantage last time around. He's basically done this lap in cruise control. Final corner for Bernie Hook on the 0 with the golden visor, and he takes the golden ticket all the way to victory lane. There we go, P1 Bernie Hook, and well, you can see how much he cruised, because across the line it's only 2.1 seconds back to Matt Birkin. Josh Birkin in 3rd position, and Nick Bennett will be absolutely well, I wouldn't want to hear the choice words he uses back in the caravan after losing that 2nd place. And you can see them taking a look back there and saying, what were you trying to do? Sabotage me? They're all having a laugh and joke with each other. All the seniors go back into the paddock and all have a laugh and a joke and help each other. And yeah, we spoke with Bernie on Saturday and he said, come and join the seniors. It is a great place and a great community. Everyone just wants to come, have fun and work with each other and help each other. Make sure if you want to be part of that, and of course you can pick up a mini moto for relatively cheap, so do check them out over as they got a run to the line there, and that was Mark Payne and Ashley Thompson coming across the line. Keaton Payne and Mark Payne split by 0.03 of a second, so everyone fighting for a position. They're 5th and 6th, 0.03 of a second, but yeah, do check out FAB-Racing.co.uk, where you can find out all the registration details, all the details you need to find out if you can get yourself on the grid here and into the community, of course. And, well, get in touch with anyone. You can go to the FAB Racing YouTube, you can go to the FAB Racing Facebook page and just ask away. People will answer you and they will be very, very helpful. It's a very welcoming community. I came in not knowing anything about bikes, and I leave a big, big fan. I almost lost my voice yesterday as I was shouting and screaming through some of the results of the likes of Philip Strovac in the 70s. And, well, we are here for the 5th round of the Mini Bike British Championship with FAB-Racing up at Rowrah in the Lake District. And we say a big thank you to everyone that is making sure everything goes smoothly today. The marshals, the medics, the race directors, the stewards, and, of course, all of our lovely production team, the guys that have been working the cameras, sitting in the rain, and, of course, everyone in the paddock and everyone at home. Hopefully you're having a lovely Sunday afternoon here and you're getting ready. If you've not enjoyed your final race, you're getting ready for it, and then I'm sure a long journey home for the majority of you. We've seen the likes of people from Falmouth, over from well, near Beccles in Ella Park, and well, and further, of course, Roger Keys going back down to Worthing, right next to Brighton. So that is a long old journey, so it shows you just how much people love coming to Fab. Well, other people that love coming to Fab, that is Archie O'Brien, Archie Gibbs, and the likes of the LC40 Elites. They're up next, and they're in store for a fantastic race. Archie O'Brien, that bike did not want to work in race 2. Can he get it working in race 3?
Well, fingers crossed for him. Of course, we saw him complete the green flag lap and then got onto the grid, and then it just gave up. But it is Archie O'Brien on the pole position, with Archie Gibbs lining up alongside him in 2nd place. Austin Johnson in P3 and Byron Johnson, his brother, in P4. Then we've got Luke Fitchett in P5, Finlay Pollil in P6. That's all your grid for the LC40 Elite. Hopefully Archie O'Brien can make the start this time. As we said last time, it completed the green flag lap, all was well, and then suddenly it conked out on the grid, and that was that. He was out before the lights even went off. And obviously a very big disappointment for him. He'll be wanting to make sure he has a good result to make up for that in race 3.
Yeah, and we'll have to watch out, because I was speaking to Speed Pentagon. He said he was speaking to Archie over the lunch break and said that the engine blew in the LC40 Elite, which is what we saw from Archie back in Clay Pigeon as well. So will he be using his AC40 Pro bike in this LC40 Elite? And if that's the case, of course, he will have a speed disadvantage on the straights. He'll have to work very, very hard. We'll find out I'm sure I'll get that confirmed from the O'Brien camp later on today, if that was capable. Here we go. Archie Gibbs rolls into position, getting some last-minute advice there from the dad along the side. Archie O'Brien, well, eyes firmly facing forwards. He knows what he needs to do. He wants to make up for that non-finish in race 2 as he's revving the engine. Has a quick glance behind as everyone's filtering into their grid slots as we get ready to kick off race 3 here. LC40 Elites, lights on, lights off. It's a good start from Archie Gibbs there. Sweeps around the outside of Archie O'Brien into turn 1. Then comes Byron Johnson, Austin Johnson, Finley Polhill are your top 5 in that one. And then Luke Fitchett following Finley Polhill away in 6th place. Of course, Luke, who rejoins after missing Clay Pigeon with that wrist injury suffered on the Friday practice. Byron Johnson a little bit slow. Oh, there's another issue for Austin. Austin is having the worst weekend. That bike does not want to work, and so unfortunate for Austin Johnson. He's got so much talent, so much speed underneath him, and he just cannot get anything to work this weekend.
Oh, it's been a nightmare at Rowrah here for Austin Johnson. It's just nothing has gone his way whatsoever. And again, that's another DNF for him there in race 3. Look at the gap that Archie Gibbs has got out the front already to Archie O'Brien. He has just bolted away. Those two themselves have got a bit of a gap behind, but Archie Gibbs taking full advantage of the perfect start that he got on, just streaking away at the front. But as you said, what a shame for Austin Johnson. Just nothing has gone his way this weekend. And obviously he's going to be going home quite upset, I can imagine. But obviously heading to the next round at LR Park, I'm sure we'll be back on form. The bike will be working again, hopefully. And we can see him back up the front where he deserves to be. It is Archie Gibbs leading the way with a 103.567, and he's got a 3-second gap to Archie O'Brien behind. He is absolutely streaking away. He seems quite determined to win this race already, and we know that Archie O'Brien is quite a competitive spirit himself, so surprised to see Gibbs have this big of a gap this early on, and then it's an 8-second gap back to Polhill after O'Brien. So Polhill's got a great start as well from the back up onto the podium positions.
Yeah, and well, Finley Polhill with a fantastic move down the inside of Byron Johnson to the corner. You can see Byron once again just paddling and trying to kick out of that hairpin, just dropping the revs down. Yeah, you can see last time around a 103.5 for Archie Gibbs, a 106.3. This is where I think that Archie O'Brien might be running his air-cooled rather than his liquid-cooled 40cc engine. It will just give him a deficit of power, because that's why he'll start to come under threat from the likes of Finley and potentially from Byron. Luke Fitchett, who's running well, staying on the back of these three, and there's Austin Johnson trying to get that bike restarted. It's really not been Austin's weekend. He'll be looking at maybe coming back stronger in Ella Park, and he'll have a couple of weeks off just to relax and reset, get some laps in. I'm sure some around the Oxfordshire area. And well, Austin, we know that he's got the pace. He's been a multi-time winner in multiple categories. Finley Polhill, however, charging up ahead of Byron Johnson, now up into 3rd position. Finley, who's had a stunning run of form in the last few races, both in the LC40 Elites and the AC40 Pros. He's got Byron Johnson still chasing him down, but Finley holding him off at the moment. Last time around, however, Archie Gibbs still leading away, 103.5. Archie O'Brien getting a little bit quicker at 104.8 there, but 4.2 seconds back. So it looks as though Archie Gibbs might have his number in this one, and Archie looking at trying to claim back some points in this LC40 Elite Championship that Archie O'Brien has been leading quite handsomely throughout the majority of... Oh, it's a big run over on the curbs there for Finley Polhill, got very deep, opened the door for Byron Johnson, and Byron back up ahead of the 199 of Finley Polhill there. But yeah, Archie O'Brien will want to make sure he doesn't lose too many points to Archie Gibbs. But yeah, this battle still going on. Finley Polhill versus Byron Johnson.
Indeed it is. Polhill, I'm sure, will be determined to not lose that P3 that easily. Byron Johnson, of course, we know is another very, very talented rider. All the riders in the Elites are very talented riders, and it's only a half a second between them. So Polhill is still there, still sticking with Byron Johnson. And, you know, there's still 6 laps to go in this race, so I'm sure he'll be able to find at least a way to get closer and get close enough to have a look. But it's one thing to catch up to the bike in front, another thing to pass it. So it's going to be a tall order. We know that Johnson is a very, very talented rider, so he's going to do everything he can to keep Finley Polhill behind him. Of course, this being race 3, this is the one that everyone wants to win, the last race of the weekend. For these guys anyway. Of course, we've still got all the other race throughs afterwards as well in all of the other categories that we haven't had just yet. Archie Gibbs, though, still leading by quite some margin. Just looking out my window, it is visually massive. 6 seconds is the gap. Archie O'Brien then has 14 seconds back to Byron Johnson. That's 8 seconds from himself, 14 from Archie Gibbs. And the two Archies out the front, they've been the class of the fields all weekend. And once again, showing why they're the most talented guys out there today.
Yep, of course, all running the LC40 Elite Elite bike. Well, some of them may be running their AC40 this, and they might not be running the LC40, but the LC40s is a liquid-cooled 40cc engine. No restrictor plate on exhaust compared to the guys that might be on the AC40, the air-cooled 40cc engine. So the liquid slightly faster and non-restricted exhaust plate on the Pro bike, or the LC bike compared to the Pro bike. So it will give you an advantage if we see the likes of Archie Gibbs on his LC, as we're expecting as he's coming up to lap Austin Johnson. Austin, who is back in the race, a few laps down, however, still trying to pick up points in the championship, which we know is, well, that's the racing spirit here, not willing to let the fact that he's just possibly, it's a black cloud above him the entire weekend long. Archie Gibbs trying to go a long way round there. You don't want to be out there, Archie, because it'll be slippery offline, and he's going to try and tuck in, and hopefully Austin, there we go, Austin notices that he's there and pulls to the outside, lets him pass Archie Gibbs through. 4 laps left to go for Archie Gibbs to come home and surely take home a victory here in the LC40 Elites by Archie O'Brien. There we go, he's just come across the line, 10.3 seconds down. So Archie O'Brien just trying to get to the flag now. He knows that he's not going to get the win unless Archie Gibbs goes down and has an issue. However, he just needs the points. This is what it's just all about, being consistent now. Pick up the points over the next 3 rounds, and then he should be able to reel in that championship as soon as he wants. Of course, as soon as possible. As soon as he wants it as soon as possible. There's word in there somewhere.
He'd want it right now, of course, but that's not how maths works, unfortunately. And we know that Archie is a rider who just wants to win. You know, we said earlier today he's a rider that just wants to win every race. Obviously he's interested in the championship, yeah, but he wants to win as quickly as he can, as often as he can, so he wraps up the championship early. Then he can just, you know, go around for the rest of the season having fun. So second place, well, you know, that's still a great haul of points for him. It's going to be disappointing to the racer inside him. Obviously, everyone out there wants to win, but none more than Archie O'Brien. The kid is one of the most competitive riders in the FAB paddock. And as we see here, Archie Gibbs still continuing round. I'm starting to wonder if Archie O'Brien potentially either has a problem that he's definitely on the AC bike, and it's really starting to show, because he had a really dreadful lap last time out. It was and that's someone who's gone down. I think that might be Austin Johnson again, stopping it.
The 27. This is just not working. And well, you've got to admire his perseverance to try and get to the flag, because that bike is not wanting to play ball. As Archie Gibbs sticks a leg out there, he can afford to put both out and celebrate here. He's got, well, 2.5 laps left to go. He's at a 12.5-second advantage over Archie O'Brien in second position. Well, 5 bikes in this one. So Austin Johnson, sort of a half bike at the moment. It doesn't really want to work. It does about a lap and then it dies, and does about a lap and then it dies. But Austin's doing a great job trying to just keep his head up and get that bike to the end. But it's Archie Gibbs that's trying to get that one to the end and take it to the checkered flag. Well, he's got 2 more laps left to go. Penultimate lap for Archie Gibbs here. The flag of St George on his helmet, on the number 3 machine. He's moved up to the MKGP 50s this season as well, so he's running both the mini motos and the Metric Hit GP bike, and well, he's been finishing on the podium all weekend long on both. Archie O'Brien is doing a great job to hold on to second position. We know that he's had an issue with his LC bike. He couldn't make the start of race 2. And one has to wonder if he's running his air-cooled 40cc for race 3. I'm sure he'll come up and tell me at the end of the weekend. And but Archie Gibbs will be delighted. He wants to pick up another win here in this LC40 Elite category to add to his list that he's been picking up throughout the weekend and throughout the season. Well, he's only got 1 more lap left to go at the end of this one. And Archie Gibbs has been pretty mega so far this weekend. A really, really strong showing on both the Metric Hits and the mini bikes.
Yeah, indeed. He's clearly enjoyed himself here at Rowrah. You know, it's a track that a lot of the riders like, and that is
Archie O'Brien.
That's Archie O'Brien, yeah. Archie O'Brien with a problem there. So not sure if he's gone down or if he's just stopped, but Archie O'Brien from second place is now going to lose that out to Byron Johnson. Finley Pole, who will then take P3. Not sure what's happened, but coming into the final section, he's just conked out, it would appear. So yeah. Archie O'Brien, disaster strikes just a lap from the end. Yeah,
and it shows you that really can happen all right down to the flag. But last lap for Archie Gibbs, well, it's that's a gift there. Is if Archie O'Brien cannot make any points in this race, because it would mean that 25 going the way of Gibbs and 0 going the way of O'Brien, unless O'Brien can get that bike restarted. But Archie Gibbs, just a few more corners to go, and he'll be a 2-time race winner this weekend in the LC40 Elites. He's making his way around the back end of the circuit down towards the downhill section. It's very, very easy to get it wrong. We've seen multiple of riders go down at this corner, but Archie Gibbs makes his way through it. And now to the final corner for the final time. LC40 Elite Race 3 is going the way of the 3 bike. It's Archie Gibbs taking the checkered flag, and crosses the arm. That was easy, he says, as he takes the flag. Byron Johnson and Finley Polehill are a few seconds behind. They're going to come round, and they were still battling on circuit. We'll see who gets second and third between them, but it's Archie Gibbs, very, very much the happy chappy, leaving Rowrah. He'll be heading back to the paddock, I'm sure, with a smile beaming across his face. Well, final lap is still going underway, and up to the flag will come the rest of them. Here we go. Oh, we've got Luke Fitchett that's just gone down on the final lap with he's just rolled off to the side of the circuit, but it is Byron Johnson. Luke Fitchett's bike has died within walking distance of the flag. There we go. Finley Polehill takes home third. Archie O'Brien comes home a lap down in 5th position. Luke Fitchett, it's like Ricky Bobby. Run it to the line. Run it to the line. Run it to the line. You still get the points. He's going to get onto Austin Johnson's bike. That one's not working either. But you can see trying to get the bike restarted on the 7th. But Luke Fitchett is, there we go. Bike restarted. Get on it and get some points, Luke. Well done. Great to see. He's quite happy to come home and take some points in this championship. And Luke, who perhaps maybe not the weekend he was looking for, maybe a little bit more tentative, that wrist might still be hurting him somewhat. He was on the podium throughout the entirety of the opening 3 rounds. But this time around, he's going to be off it, but he's still going to get points. And Luke Fitchett on the 7 comes home in 4th position. And, well, even with 6 bikes, you can still see what can happen in LC40 Elite Racing here at FAB-Racing, the Mini Bike British Championship, round 5 at Rowrah.
Indeed, what heartbreaker as well for Archie O'Brien running in P2, and then again just the bike issues plaguing him. We weren't sure whether he was running the liquid-cooled bike or the air-cooled bike this weekend. Obviously the air-cooled has a little bit less power. It's got a restrictor on the exhaust, so it doesn't quite go as fast in a straight line. But a heartbreak from there, just a few laps from the end, and that is the he would have loved to have come here and had a great weekend. Obviously he won the first race out, I believe, and then just heartbreak. No start in race 2, and then a 5th place in race 3. He did cross the line, so he did get the points. Austin Johnson obviously retiring as well. Again, another rider who's just not had a weekend to remember, shall we say. But now, of course, we've got the pit bikes heading out, the PB140s heading out, and this will be one of the most exciting races of the weekend. Race 2 was absolutely amazing. We saw thrills, we saw spills, we saw drama, and a few big downs as well from some of the riders. And as they head out onto the grid now, and there we can see lining up on the pole position, it is none other than Taylor Lawrence. Alongside him, Reese Peacock. Taylor taking a very dominant race to win. And as we wait to go out on our green flag lap, this will be a very, very... And just had some information that Jay King will be on his 125 for this race. Not too sure why that is.
I can tell you why that is because he completely obliterated
that is a good point.
140 in race 2, unfortunately going down at the side of the final corner. So unfortunately for Jay, it looks as though he's going to be down on power, 15cc down. So, well, a little bit of work to do. He's out there on his moto team bike. But, well, Jamie King, he is still trying to pick up points in the championship. So some work to do for the 76.
Yeah, indeed. I momentarily forgot that he had a massive accident in race 2, but it is Taylor Lawrence that lines up on the pole position. Reese Peacock alongside him, Owen Miller in P3, and then our man who did have a camera, but I don't think he's got it anymore, Jamie King, and then Nathan Riggy is in P5 with Marco Pandolfo P6, Giorgio Scarletta and Matthew Lindley make up row 4, and then Sean Whitaker and Idan Katz rounding out the top 10, Ian Jackson and Andrew Graham in 11th and 12th, Keaton Payne is P13, Roger Monks is going off for 14, Harrison O'Keefe is 15th, Darren Anderson is 16th, and then rounding out the grid on the 9th row, it's Dave Glover and Gary O'Keefe.
And it's been the Taylor Lawrence show this weekend so far. The 10 has been making up for the fact that there is no Rossi Bannon in the championship. Of course, Rossi up at the BSB paddock this weekend and in the previous round as well at Donington this weekend. Of course, you can watch all of the British Talent Cup with Tristan Finocchiaro commentating on that one as soon as you finish, of course, watching all of this wonderful fab action here from Rowrah. But Taylor Lawrence, well, he said he's looking forward to Rossi being back, but he's quite happy to take points off him whilst he's not here, and he'll be lining up on the pole. Reese Peacock, he's had an interesting weekend. Reese has. He's been up, he's been down, he's been finishing on a podium. we can see what he can do from P2. Watch out for the 30 behind as Owen Mellor looks to make a move. He's had some rocket starts so far this weekend. Jay King on 4th. What can he do from the 2nd row? And then behind, it's going to be pit bike action. It can all happen. Lights on, lights off. There we go. It's a brilliant start there from Taylor Lawrence. Swarms his way down into T1. Jamie King, however, up into P3, jumping past Owen Mellor.
Indeed, great start there from Jake. Oh, that is a big off there for one of the riders. Big off down at turn 2. And seems to be okay, giving a thumbs up, I think it is. Not sure who it was that was down, but it is Taylor Lawrence that leads the way. Great stuff from Jay King as well on the 125. Obviously, as you said, Gareth, destroying the 140 in race 2. You can see there, I think it was Mellor and Jay King swapping positions there actually as well. So it's all action stations once again in the pit bike class. So we head away, and there we can see the number 11. Almost sideways, bit of a moment there as Marco Pandolfo gets done by Matt Lindley, who's leading the rookie championship within the PB140 class, which is obviously set up and run by the community. It's not an official championship, but it is run within the pit bike community, and he is leading that by an absolute country mile. I'm sure he would love some good results in the rookie class today as well. But as we come to the line, it is Taylor Lawrence that leads the way, with Reece Peacock in P2 and Owen Mellor P3, Jamie King P4, Matt Lindley and Marco Pandolfo swapping places, but it is the top 4 as they were from the grid.
Yeah, it was Giorgio Scalata that went down at the first corner on the first lap. Unfortunately for Giorgio, he had a really good run in race 1. And this time around, well, he's looking as though he's not going to be picking up too many points in this one. He's sat at the side of the circuit, is Giorgio, but, well, looking up at P5 and P6 as they go helmet off already, just chilling out. He gets to watch some racing for free now. But, well, working at P5 and P6, Marco Pandolfo having his best weekend here at FAB for a long, long time. He's been finishing just off the podium. Equally, Matt Lindley as well. Matt, who's looking to take, as you say, that rookie championship. But watch out for Marco, though, on the 21, the Italian rider that is, well, he's got the 21 in the tricolor of Italy, and it is he's been running pretty well. I'm sure he'll be pretty happy with how his weekend's gone. But still leading away, Taylor Lawrence, Reece Peacock in 2nd, Owen Mellor and Jamie King are your top 4. Jamie King now starting to come under attack from Matt Lindley, of course. Jamie running that 1-2-5, so he is down on power compared to everyone else, so he's going to struggle to keep everyone behind. This is all about rider skill now, so how good is Jamie King, not how good is his bike. He's going to have to make sure he nails every single apex, every single lap. Indeed, obviously we're rooting a little bit for Jamie King here in the comments box. He was running our Motorsport Radio onboard camera in race 1 and 2. Obviously, I think he became a victim as well alongside his bike in the race 2 accident, so he's not running it here in race 3, but we're still rooting him on nonetheless. That being said, Matt Lindley showing a lot of pace, but when you're down on power, as Jay King is, there is nothing you can do down this back section, down the long back stretch as well. And Matt Lindley in the 142 is all over the back of Jamie King, heading into the final few corners. I don't think it'll take long, if I'm brutally honest, before Matt Lindley finds his way past Jay King, who is just doing what he can. But frankly, at this point, it's simply just a hope for the best as he makes his way round with a significantly less power. It is Taylor Lawrence still leading this race with the fastest lap of a 58.385, which is a second quicker than Reece Peacock behind. He's now got a 3.5 second gap behind him to Reece Peacock, who then himself has a 4 second gap to Owen Mellor behind. So the top guys starting to spread out just a little bit. You can see there the gap between some of the top riders as we're heading now down into the first hairpin here, following the one now over Dan Katz, who's made up positions from P10 on the opening few laps, now running in P9, so that's a great start for them as they head down into the Arnsdale hairpin. This is where we've seen most of the offs today. It's stopped raining now as I just glance out the window, so the track, I presume, has started to dry up over the course of the afternoon. And Cam, I thought we had an accident there, but no, just planning to look at some mud, it seems. But yeah, Taylor Lawrence and Reece Peacock actually setting it as his personal best, but still nowhere near what Taylor Lawrence is setting right now. Yeah, Taylor Lawrence sailing off now, 3.4 seconds ahead of Reece Peacock. Owen Mellor now in a bit of a lonely third position. Jamie King, who's got Matt Lindley for company. And, one thing that is we've got to ride it down at turn 1 and turn 2 is so you can see still tricky conditions as Taylor has a quick glance behind. Of course, this is what we talk about Jamie King as you can see, is that an issue for the 30? You can see Owen Mellor is struggling with the bike. He was having a play with the with the throttle. Well, we'll see if he comes to a screeching halt, because he was running in third position. He was running slowly. Has he pulled off to the side of the circuit? We will find when they come up to the line if the likes of Jamie King and Matt Lindley have got past, but Taylor Lawrence still leading away here. Oh, we've got to ride it out. It's 29. That's Reese Peacock, the man in second position. So Reese going down again. That has been a habit that he's had all weekend long. We've got another rider down as well. So it's all happening. That's Keaton Payne on the 112, I believe, that's gone down. So 2 riders in 2 corners going down. It is very tricky. It's, as you say, it's stopped raining, but it's just greasy now. It's very tricky as Taylor. I say it's tricky as Taylor goes down the straight one-handed, going into Ardale's hairpin. And there's Reese Peacock. Oh, he's not going to get to the finish. What a shame for the 29. That is, he's been running so well in the PB140s recently, picking up some solid results. He hasn't been outside the top 2 for the last 5 races. And this time around, he's going to have to settle for a DNF and 0 points. Jamie King has got Matt Lindley from it. This is what I was going to say previously. I think Matt is a little bit of a cat playing with some food, and there we go. He's decided to devour it, because I saw him put a hand up to Jamie King saying, look, you just stay ahead of me for a bit, drag me along, and let's have a little bit of a race. And now he's decided, well, we're getting towards the end of this one. I'd rather have the podium.
Yeah, I mean, that obviously makes sense, to be honest. That being said, though, with Reese Peacock calling it a day, that does promote Jamie King up onto the podium as well. And Owen Mellis really dropped down as well. We saw him, he was looking down at the bike. Something was obviously wrong, and he's now dropped down a long way. He's in a P6 the last time he came to the line. I wouldn't be surprised if he's dropped even further. But now, as Matt Lindley does get Jamie King through there, Taylor Lawrence has a 17, nearly 18-second gap to Lindley behind him. He could probably do the rest of the race blindfolded, frankly, if he'd still come home with a huge gap behind him. That is, I mean, obviously we know that Jay King's been struggling with the power. Obviously he's running a 125cc engine. Oh, big moment there. But we know that Jay King is running the 125cc instead of the 140, and he's doing a phenomenal job to be keeping it in P3. But yeah, that is a big old gap behind Taylor Lawrence.
Marco Pandolfo is spelling a podium. He's not only spelling third, he's spelling second. There it goes. There's a number in there. Sorry, it's been a long day. But Marco Pandolfo, you can see right on the tail of Jamie King. He got so trigger happy on the throttle that the back end almost got away from him, but he did well to hold his balance. And in fact, he's going to try to go around the outside of Jamie King. And, well, Jamie this time around is going to hold him off. In fact, Jamie trying to go on the attack against Matt Lindley, the 142. Matt Lindley looking for a debut podium in the PB140s. Is this rookie season here in the pit bikes? Well, to pick up a podium would be fantastic. Second place would be even better, with Taylor Lawrence pretty much head and shoulders above everyone else. But Marco Pandolfo, I can't remember if Marco's picked up a podium. I don't think he has, so he's definitely going to have the bit between his teeth. He's going to want to come out. Oh, no, that's Lindley that's gone down out of second position. Just as we were saying that he was looking for a debut podium, it's all fallen apart, so that promotes Jamie King out into second. Marco Pandolfo and Sean Whittaker will now move up ahead of him. What a shame there from 142 Matt Lindley. He was running so nicely.
Yeah, indeed, there was a big bit of, I think it must have just been bodywork hanging off the front of the bike there, so I wonder if he's got some damage. Hopefully not. Even though if he still finishes where he does now, he will still be winning the rookie class and increasing his lead in the rookie championship. So obviously, while it's not the overall podium that he'd been wanted in the unofficial rookie championship, he will still be extending his lead by quite some margin. It is now 20 seconds from Taylor Lawrence to Jay King behind. Matt Lindley falling down to 5th place, so not too bad, to be fair. Could have been a lot worse, but losing out on that podium, that promotes Marco Pandolfo up as well. And not far behind him, Sean Whittaker slowly closing in on the battling King and Pandolfo. So we might be getting another three-way fight on our hands for P2 in a moment.
Yeah, but Taylor Lawrence with around about 1.2 laps. I'm going to guess we've got about 2.2 of a lap left to go, because here he comes up to the final corner. It's about 0.1 of a lap left. And it's about to come one, because Taylor Lawrence taking the final lap flag. Here we go, yellow flag or red with a black cross across it. And he just knows every case. He's looking so casual on the bike. He knows he's just going to make his way around this Rowrah circuit one more time, and he can go happy knowing he's picked up 75 championship points. There we go, one-handed, looks up to the sky, and, well, this is very, very casual for the man that's leading by, well, Jamie King hasn't even crossed the line yet to start his final lap, so I can tell you it's 20 seconds. And Taylor, he's not had to work for this one at all. He just got to the front and just disappeared. Everyone else behind him is unfortunately been going down, having an issues. We've seen Reece Peacock, we've seen Owen Bella. He's just looking around. Where is everyone? Come on, I came here for a fight. I wasn't expecting to have a test day. He's missing Rossi Bannon being out there. They're very, very good friends off circuit. We're looking forward to having Rossi back as well. Hopefully he'll be back for Ella Park. But Taylor Lawrence, well, he's taking home a full complement of championship points in the Pit Bike 140s as he looks to head towards the Pit Bike Championship. And he's doing it in style because the number 10, Taylor Lawrence, is a 3-time winner here at Rowrah.
What a performance there from Taylor Lawrence. He crosses the line, winner here. All 3 races, clean sweep of the weekend here at the Cumbria Car Club. And that is what a race to cap it off. Just out the front, cruising on the last lap. He didn't even need to bother to just looking around, having a nosy, see what's going on around the circuit. Because he was so far ahead, it was easy for him. That is Jay King coming home in a phenomenal second place there. On a bike that should not even be on the podium with the lack of power it has. Sean Whittaker gets the better of Marco Pandolfo as well at the end there. So Sean Whittaker coming home with P3. It was very, very close between King and Whittaker. It was just over a tenth of a second. Owen Miller comes home in 5th after those problems, dropping out of the podium places. There is Taylor Lawrence sitting there, giving a round of applause to everyone else. He's so bored, he may as well congratulate his opponents. Matt Lindley, after that fall, comes home in 6th place. He will still take the win in the unofficial rookie class. Andrew Graham is then going to come home in P7 as well, followed by Keaton Payne, Dan Katz and Dave Glover will round out the top 10. Then Roger Monks is 11th, Callum Foster is 12th. That's the vast of our runners because Reece Peacock and Giorgio Scarletta unfortunately being our 2 retirees from the race. But Giorgio Scarletta got a lovely view sitting on the inside of turn 2 there, just chilling on the barrier. But again, Taylor Lawrence, what a performance, what a weekend. He's had a clean sweep, all 3 races, 75 points being taken home by the number 10 rider.
Yeah, what a race there from Taylor, leading the championship and doing it in style this weekend. Well, I'm sure Marco Pandolfo will not be happy. He was looking for, I believe, a debut podium here in the Pit Bike 140s, beaten on the line by Sean Whittaker. Sean picking up a podium here for the first time on the 12 machine. So, yeah, Taylor told us, watch out for Sean Whittaker this weekend. He's going to be good. Well, he's clearly come good in race 3. Misses out on 2nd place by 0.1 of a second. Well, pit bikes are done and dusted, and they will be getting packed up in the caravans, in the vans, in the back of everything, and we'll be shipping off to Ella Park in round about a month and a half's time, which means that we move on to the next category. And, well, it is going to be, one to watch it. It's the AC40 Pros. The AC40 Pros have been having some fantastic racing so far this weekend. Do we see Archie O'Brien come back? He's maybe not had the weekend he was looking for. Of course, you're going to see the likes of Austin and Byron Johnson. Austin, well, we'll see if he manages to make it on circuit. He's had so many issues with that bike. I wouldn't blame him if he just sits there and just say, I'll be faster running. As Chloe Sewell rolls out on circuit, she picked up a best result of the season. In 4th position is Chloe, and Hamish McIntosh, Archie O'Brien is there, and then we've got Byron Johnson that's rolling out on circuit. Do we get Austin? That is going to be the big question. Austin, who has had so many issues. It's going to be a long, long drive back to Charlie Bassett in Oxfordshire for Austin Johnson. I'm sure with Byron sitting alongside him with perhaps his bag a little bit heavier with those medals and those podiums he's been picking up. But, well, Archie O'Brien, can he end his weekend on a high note? It's been up and down for him. He's been on the podium, he's been picking up wins, but he's also had not the greatest of LC40 Elite weekends. He's going to want to finish it off with a win here in the AC40 Pros.
Yeah, well, of course he will. As you said, not the best weekend in the LC40 category. You can see that there's Finley Polhill lining up alongside him on the bright orange bike. He'll also be looking for a good weekend. And we do have Austin Johnson there in the background as well. As we get underway, it will be Archie O'Brien going from pole position. Finley Polhill lining up alongside him. Then row 2 is Hamish McIntosh on his FAB debut in P3. Chloe Sewell will be in P4. She didn't get the best of starts out last time. Let's hope she can get a better one this time out. And then on the back row of the grid, it's Byron and Austin. It's the Johnson brothers, and they'll be looking for some better racing as well, especially Austin, who's just had it all thrown at him this weekend, Gareth.
Yeah, absolutely, but I'm sure he'll come back stronger. We know that both the Johnson brothers are very, very talented. I've enjoyed watching their progress throughout the rookies into the pros in the LC, and of course up onto the Metro Kits, and hopefully we'll see the likes of Finley Polhill and Archie O'Brien doing the same. Chloe Sewell, she's been fantastic this weekend. I've really enjoyed Chloe. She's a lovely, lovely lass. You had a chat with her on Friday. She's very, very positive, very, very happy, and she's quite happy. Of course, their younger sister to Cameron Sewell, who we'll see later on today as well. So it's a racing family. She's out there, and, well, picked up a best result of the season in race 2. She'll be wanting to improve on that and hopefully get onto podium in this one. We will find out very, very shortly.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed for her. As you said, she is a lovely, lovely girl. She was the first person I've ever spoken to in the FAB paddock, so she has that title to her name, I suppose. And while she didn't get the best of starts in race 2, she did end up picking up a very nice result. And of course, if she gets a better start on this one, it should be even better. She's clearly likes Rowrah. She said to me she likes Rowrah. She likes it in the wet as well. So just to see how she does in the final race for the AC40 Pros this weekend as we wait for the lights to go on. 6 riders on the grid here. It's race 3 here at Rowrah in the AC40 Procast. Lights go on, lights go out, and we're underway. It's a great start for Archie O'Brien as well. Finley Pollard might get the jump in him in the background. Looks like Hamish McIntosh got a good start, but not too confident into turn 1. It is Finley Pollard that once again leads this race from the get-go. We saw this in one of the other races this weekend as well. Archie O'Brien trying to have a look down the inside, but unable to do so. So coming out of the first hairpin, it is Finley Polehill that leads. Hamish McIntosh, I think that is challenging. No, it's not for Hamish McIntosh challenging Archie O'Brien. Apologies, it was
Byron Johnson.
There you go. Got there. I had the words on the tip of my tongue. I was getting out there. It was Archie O'Brien defending for Byron Johnson. There we go. I got there eventually.
Take a breath, have a drink, and there we go. Finley Polehill, Byron Johnson, and Archie O'Brien all fighting over the top 3 positions right now as Finley Polehill challenges the lead and takes the lead. And there we go. Byron Johnson challenges the lead, and does he take the lead? He does. So great move there from Byron, a fantastic first lap. Something that Byron is making a habit of recently is just having these blistering opening laps. He just needs the consistency to get him to the end. Well, what can Archie O'Brien do from third on the track right now, because he's watching Finley Polehill and Byron Johnson drive away from him, but Byron looking very, very confident. He's had a good weekend so far in both the LCs and in the ACs. Can he add a win to his column come at the end of this one? We've got 8 laps left to go in this one, so plenty of racing. And we've got Byron just down goes Polehill. Polehill down at McRae's hairpin. Very, very easy to do. Just got to the throttle a little bit too early, kicked the back end out, and it's just the smallest of mistakes has put him down on the deck. So that's promoting Archie O'Brien now up into second position. Austin Johnson, who's managed to get up ahead of Hamish McIntosh. So Austin Johnson now up into third.
Yeah, indeed. Very unlucky for Finley Pollard, but again, it's wet out there. Although it's not raining anymore, the track is still greasy. Super easy to do. We've been seeing riders go down all weekend around the hairpins. What a shame for Finley Pollard, you know, running in P2, got the lead off the start momentarily before Byron Johnson decided to have another thing say about that. But yeah, big shame. He's in P5, managed to get back, get going again just in front of Chloe Saul, so we'll still maintain position 5, unless obviously she can challenge that. I think they'll maybe she'll be thinking they can work together. She can try and follow Finley Polehill, and they can try and catch up to the riders in front, and maybe they can both try and challenge 4th and 3rd, get back onto those podium positions for Finley. But it is still Byron Johnson that leads this race. Archie O'Brien with the fastest lap of the race last time out, a 105.966, only rider into the 105s, and it was 5/10 quicker than Byron Johnson as well on that lap. So he's closing and closing and closing, just needs to now find the gap. But he's a very, very good racer, as well as being unbelievably quick on the bike. And you could see there getting in the slipstream, having a look into the inside and deciding against it, with Byron firmly shutting the door there. But that's Archie O'Brien letting Johnson know that he's there behind him, and he's not afraid to go for the gaps that you usually wouldn't go for if you were sensible.
Yeah, Archie O'Brien, well, he's said to me multiple times that he just waits to get into the rhythm. He knows that if he has a bad opening lap or a bad opening 2 laps, that he just needs to wait and he'll get into the rhythm, he'll get into his groove, and he looks as though he's starting to do so as he gets a bit of a slower run out the final corner compared to Byron. Byron has a quick look behind him. Archie, however, still hot on his heels as they're almost trading rubber from rear tyre to front tyre going around that last lap. It looks as though Archie has the measure of Byron in the first and second sectors, but Byron having a better run out the final corner, so Archie's having to work hard to stay with Byron Johnson, and it looks as though those two will be fighting away, because Austin Johnson 2.5 seconds behind. He'll be hoping these two continue to battle and help him close the gap. Hamish McIntosh back in 4th position. Finley Polehill, after that fall, is in 5th. And Chloe Saul still running solidly in 6th position, running some decent lap time. Here's Chloe, but here we go. Up into the lead goes Archie O'Brien, so he's finally found a way past Byron. So Byron loses the lead. He managed to gain on lap 1, but he's going to come back down the inside of Austin, down the inside of Archie. There we go. So many A's. So it's Archie O'Brien back down into 2nd position. And, well, Byron, he got the move done. He gets a slightly slower run, so that's going going to compromise him into the final corner. Can Archie O'Brien go back down the inside? Not quite around. He's going to have to wait until next lap. 6 laps becomes 5 laps. 5 laps for Byron Johnson to keep Archie O'Brien behind.
Indeed, fastest lap of the race that time for Byron Johnson, even with this battle with Archie going on. It's a 105.866. So even though he's battling with Archie O'Brien behind him and having to put in a defensive performance, he's still setting the fastest lap of the race. So these two still pushing very, very hard out the front. Austin Johnson behind as well in P3. Byron's brother doing a solid job, 2 seconds off of Archie O'Brien. If these two continue to battle, you might be able to catch up. Hamish McIntosh and well, P4 also setting some solid laps. Finley Powell as well. I'm worried he might have a bit of damage to the bike maybe because he's not hitting the lap times that he was at the start of the race. So hopefully he's able to sort himself out. If it's just maybe a confidence issue, obviously once you fall off the bike, it does dent your confidence quite a lot, and at some point you can get back on it and get back racing as quickly as possible and just put those thoughts into the back of your head. That's in the past now. You need to focus and get going once again. But it is still Byron Johnson leading this race as they head now into the final corner. It will be 4 laps to go this time by Archie O'Brien. Wasn't able to have a go this lap, wasn't able to have a challenge, and there we go. Archie O'Brien, Byron Johnson quickly had the fastest lap of the race, and then 2 tenths later Archie O'Brien crossed the line and set the fastest lap of the race. Instead, it was a 105.525. So when these guys aren't battling, they are setting ferociously quick lap times.
Yeah, you can see the top 3 lap times all within a 1/10 and a half of each other, so they are all circulating very, very quickly indeed. However, Archie O'Brien, quickest of all, last time around, the rider from Cambridge. He's, not had the best of weekends for Archie O'Brien standards. However, just needs to be picking up points. He's going to try and make an attack on Byron Johnson. Gets down the inside, going into the back end of the circuit. Byron's going to try and come back at him. Archie shuts the door, and Byron Johnson has to get on the breakers there to slow down, make sure he doesn't run into the back of Archie O'Brien. Of course, these two were involved in an unfortunate collision down the toe. Byron's going to get down. What a lovely move there from Byron Johnson. Yeah, they all went down in clay pitching in the wet, involving Finley Polehill. No one collected each other, but they all kind of spooked each other. We're going down in a puddle towards the braking zone, and these two have been swapping positions over the last few laps. We go on to 3 laps left to go. Archie O'Brien keeps on getting down the inside. Byron just finds a way past all the corners that Archie's not expecting him to.
Exactly. This is a great battle we're seeing between these two for in the final race of the weekend for the AC40 Pros. As you said, 3 laps to go, and Byron Johnson just having to think defensively. He knows that Archie is there, and he's just having to maybe compromise his entries just a little bit, just to take a defensive on into the corner. That's allowing Archie to catch up, but then when Archie goes for the overtake, Byron has the perfect counter to his moves. So it's really, we're just in this weird equilibrium of the battle. That being said, Archie O'Brien's got a great run out of the hairpin, coming into the big right-hander now. They're neck and neck going in. Archie O'Brien maybe trying to get the switchback manoeuvre. I don't think he's going to have the momentum. It is still Byron Johnson that leads the race, heading into the downhill very quick, right, left, right at the end of the lap. It was very, very wet here earlier on. Now it's stopped raining. I'm not too sure what the track condition is like. It looks a bit greasy just looking out of my commentary box window, but they've managed to make it through okay. Heading on to now, it will be 2 laps to go this time by, and it's still Byron Johnson leading the way as they cross the line. Archie O'Brien surely feeling more and more frustrated beneath that helmet. With every passing lap, with every single move he tries to go for, Byron is just not letting him through.
I don't think that Byron's particularly happy with the bike at low revs coming out of these hairpins. He's using his feet a lot to try and paddle his way forwards, and you can see he's having a look behind. He takes a look over his left shoulder, takes a look over his right shoulder, trying to find where Archie O'Brien's attack is going to come from. But, well, Byron Johnson just a little bit slower. It's why Archie O'Brien can get a better run down towards the back end of the circuit. Austin Johnson is still there. He's still in 3rd position. He's now 5.1 seconds back, so that bike maybe not as quick as Byron and Archie's up ahead. Finley Polehill still circulating in 4th position. Hamish McIntosh in 5th, and Chloe Sewell in 6th position, but a 27. And you've got to give props out to Austin. He's had not an ideal weekend, but he's still out there on the bike, still getting laps in, still picking up points, and at the moment coming home with a podium. Well, with 2 laps left to go, however, it's his younger brother Byron leading away in last time around, fastest of all. And in fact, they take the last lap flag, so we're going on to the final lap. So 1 more lap for Byron Johnson to keep Archie O'Brien behind. Archie's really got maybe 1 or 2 overtaking places that he can go for. Down into these 2 hairpins is probably his best option. He's going to go wide to try and take a deeper line into the next corner. Here we go. go. He's going to try and line him up, but it looks as though he's a little bit further back. Can he send it down the inside? He's getting closer, but not quite close enough. He's probably got one more attempt to get past Byron Johnson. We know that he's been quick down the back straight all race long, and in fact they're side by side as they go down the back straight. He's got the move done, so Byron Johnson is going to have to come down the inside. He almost takes the line, but Archie shuts the door in. But this is where Byron's been making the move every time that Archie's got past him all race long. Byron comes back down the inside into this left-hander. He's going to go for it again. Does he hold the line? He does. He takes the lead back on the final lap, only with 3 corners left to go. Can Archie O'Brien get alongside him? It looks as though it's going to go the way of Byron Johnson. What a run it's been for Byron Johnson, though. Archie O'Brien doesn't have anything to answer him with. They're coming up to the line. It's only a short run. It's going to be Byron Johnson that takes it on the line by 1/10 of a second to Archie O'Brien. Archie with the fastest lap of the race on that last lap. Just not quite close enough. He as Austin Johnson come home in 3rd, but Byron, wow, he had to work for that one. He had a thumbs up between the pair of them. What a race they've just had.
Indeed, it was, and the track was getting faster and faster with every passing lap as well, so they were going faster. They were really pushing each other to the limits. And again, showing of respect from Archie O'Brien to Byron Johnson there. He's going, you know what, fair play. I'm sure they both had a lot of fun in that anyway, despite it not quite going Archie O'Brien's way, because what a battle they've had all race long. Just trading blows. In the end, it was Byron Johnson who came out on top, even despite Archie O'Brien's last lap move. He managed to get past him with just a few corners to go. It is Byron Johnson who takes the race 3 win here at Rowrah. Archie O'Brien coming home in P2. Austin Johnson rounds out the podium after a pretty sorry weekend for himself, and you can see there how happy Byron Johnson is with that one. He is delighted with that performance. But yeah, it's nice to see Austin Johnson coming home on the podium after a pretty rubbish weekend for him. He's just not had any luck going his way whatsoever. And then Finley Pollard, after that early fall, that's the word I was looking for, comes home in P4. Hamish McIntosh comes home in P5, and then Willie Closall coming in at the back. Actually, it's officially says she's retired, but she must have pulled into the pits right at the end, which is unfortunate for her because she's just missed out on some points. But it was still a respectable performance from her nonetheless. And again, very, very nice performance for her overall from the weekend. But now, of course, it's the big boys. It's the MKGP 70s.
It is the Premier Class at FAB. It is the final step of the ladder before many of these riders head off to the likes of the British Talent Cup. We've seen the likes of Evan Belford. We've seen the likes of Lucas Brown, Johnny Garness, Casey O'Gorman making their way through, and many, many more. Well, what do we see from race 3? Race 2 and race 1 have gone the way of Filip Sorowiak. He broke the duck that has been sitting all season long. He's been waiting and waiting and waiting for that first race win. Well, it's like buses. When 1 comes, 2 come, and the floodgates now open. Does he go for the clean sweep? He's been looking strong all weekend long. Mason Foster went down in race 2. Can he recover some points in the championship? Ethan Sparks has had some issues with the bike. It's really not been Mason or Ethan's weekend to remember. Well, Ollie Horner, he's had the best qualifying result of the season in 4th position. Still not had the best of races, went down in race 2. Charlie Hunsford has a decent run. Well, the grid for this one is absolutely epic. It puts the championship leaders all at the front. We've got Filip Sorowiak, Mason Foster 1st and 2nd, Ethan Sparks back in P3, your championship leader, with Ollie Horner in 4th, Ben Jolliffe in 5th, Charlie Hunter in 6th, with Clayton Edmonds and Ronnie Harris 4th, row 4 with 7th and 8th. Row 5 is Harry Payne and Cam Saul, Greg Marshall, Paddy Moore and Felix Dorling, your 13 MKGP 70s in this one, and set for the, well, you can see a very much a drying circuit now, so this is going to be a tricky race because it's going to be wet offline, dry online, and they're going to have to try and find grip wherever they can. Overtakes might be a little bit risky. We've seen a number of riders go down, Cam Saul, Paddy Moore, and well, it's set to be a fantastic wrap-up to the MKGP 70s. Can Sorowiak make it 3 from 3?
Well, we'll just have to wait and see. Mason Foster was absolutely ferociously on his heels in race 1. Obviously had a tumble at the start of race 2. We've just got to see what the two can do at the start of this race. I believe they are on wet tyres. I can't quite tell. I think they are, though. So if they're running on the dry line as well, that's going to cook the tyres. So just have to wait and see what happens as we wait for the light to go on now. It's lights out, we're underway for race 3. It's a great start from Mason Foster on the outside and Ethan Sparks on the inside as well, but Soroviak slips in P2. But look at the gap that Mason Foster has already. He has immediately tried to bolt to it at the front of the grid, and that is a perfect start for the 88. Philip Soroviak will obviously try and counter that. Ollie Horner had a bit of not the best start. He's dropped a few positions there, but it is Mason Foster that leads this race. Philip Soroviak, though, holding on to P2 from championship leader Ethan Sparks. They head through the Arnsdale hairpin for the first time. Charlie Huntington as well. Oh, that's a rider off there.
As Paddy Moore has gone down again. That's another time that Paddy's gone down at that corner. It's just catching him out, race after race, unfortunately for Paddy. But well, back underway. Mason Foster still leading from Soroviak, so the 88 from the 75, from the 62, and then back to Charlie Huntsford on the 76. Ollie Horner is fighting with Ben Jolliffe and Clayton Edmonds. Clayton Edmonds on the 146, who's looking at coming back, of course. Clayton, he's been involved in the 50s. He's going down the inside of Ollie into the final corner. Does he get the move done? Looks as though he does. Fantastic move there from Clayton to move up into 7th position. But Mason Foster leads from the line. Fastest laps, 57.4. Then we've got Philip Soroviak, 1.1 seconds back. Ethan Sparks, of course, leading the championship in 3rd position. Charlie Huntsford, once again, another good run. Oh, down there. That's Huntingford that's gone down. Just as I was saying, Charlie Huntsford on exit of McRae's hairpin. Harry Payne is almost collecting on exit there. It's a difficult position for Charlie to get the bike back up, but he's going to try and get back underway. That is going to promote Ben Jolliffe now up into a P4. As you can see, that's the 145 for Paddy Moore, unfortunately off to the side of the circuit once again. So that bike not wanting to play ball after that for Ardale's hairpin on lap 1. But, well, Mason Foster's still looking quick in this one. Philip Soroviak, well, he's a race winner in race 1 and race 2. He's looking at taking the overall class win this weekend if he can finish on the podium. There's a change for position. That's Clayton Edmonds going down the inside of Ben Jolliffe. Ben Jolliffe, who went down in race 2 as well. Clayton, we know that he likes these greasy conditions. He's had some practice on the GP50 bike as well. Oh, that's both riders going down. That's Jolliffe and Edmonds going down at turn 1 in, well, completely synchronized crashes there. Perhaps Jolliffe just getting caught out by Edmonds going down. Oh, it's so frustrating. You can see it's exactly the same place Ben Jolliffe went down in race 2. Clayton will not be happy at all. And there is Charlie Huntsford pulling off to the side of the circuit. He's had an incident already, and it looks as though that bike not wanting to work particularly well for him. Charlie not happy at all. He'll be hoping for better in his home race at Ella Park in 6 weeks' time. But Mason Foster, whilst that is all going on, Mason leading away now, 1.5 seconds up the road. These greasy conditions absolutely catching these riders out.
Well, while the chaos unfolds behind him, Mason Foster sets off to what he intended to do in race 1, what he wanted to do in race 2, and that now he finally has the lead of the race. Soroviak put on the most mighty defensive performance in race 1 to take his first win of the season. Obviously, race 2, Foster again had a great start, but then fell down at the first hairpin, but now he's out the front and he's got a 2.1 second lead, and I'm sure that he will want to keep that. Obviously, Soroviak would love to sweep the weekend. Who wouldn't like to sweep the weekend? And obviously, 2 wins out of 2 races is not bad at all, but Foster has had so much pace in that bike all weekend long, and now he's finally out the front and he's finally proving what he can do. It's 2 seconds to Soroviak behind him. Well, even if he takes this win, he won't be taking the most points from this weekend. That will go to Soroviak, obviously, with 2 wins, and if they finish as they do now, that would be a 2nd place as well, coming in at 70 points if my math serves me correctly. Foster obviously had a DNF in race 2, but he's proving that pace that he's got in that bike. You know, I was watching it in practice, and he was one of the ones that immediately struck me with how confident he was in the machine the second he got out on track in the first practice session. And obviously the wet, it didn't quite go his way. Another rider who wasn't really enjoying the wet earlier this morning, Ollie Horner, who was really struggled in race 2, was very, very quick in race 1. Race 2, though, just really didn't go his way, and he's been quick off the line all weekend as well. He was his strategy in race 1 was get as many places off the start as he can and then defend for his absolute life, and he ended up coming home a very well-deserved P5, but race 2 just really didn't go his way in the wet. But he's now trying to get up the inside of Sewell here. Cameron Sewell's managed to work his way past, but Ollie Horner isn't taking no for an answer on that bright yellow 70 bike that is so easy to see. Commentator's dream livery, that is. And it looks like Sewell's got the upper hand for the time being, but I'm sure Ollie Horner has a lot to prove after a very disappointing race 2.
Yeah, big shout out to Cameron Sewell here. This is his best run so far this season, comfortably in a top 5 position. I say comfortably. Ollie Horner is tailing at the moment, but it's been a great start for Cameron. Of Of course, we've just seen his younger sister Chloe out on the bike as well, but Cam doing his stuff on the 100 machine, and well, he's just got to keep it ahead of Ollie Horner. Ollie Horner, who's had his best qualifying result of the season, and he's been picking up some solid points. He was decent here at Rowrah last season, had a big crash with his throttle stuck open in, I believe, race 3, but this time around on the 70, charging down and trying to take 5th place off of Cameron Saul. Ronnie Harris, who has told us time after time again that he likes running in these greasy and wet conditions. Well, once again, he's up in 4th position, but it is still Mason Foster running away with it now. 4.4 seconds. Last time around, 55.7 was comfortably faster than anyone else. It was Filip Sorowiak, a 57.0. And that was the next closest lap. That shows you just how quickly Mason Foster is going at the moment. He's blitzing this 3rd race of the MK GP70s. Filip Sorowiak in 2nd position. Ethan Sparks in 3rd place. We know Ethan's had some issues with the bike, so we'll have to find out post-race if that has hampered him throughout the rest of the weekend. He should, or might possibly should possibly be leading the championship come the end of this one. I'll get that confirmed. But Mason Foster leading away. Filip Sorowiak, Ethan Sparks. Ronnie Harris comes home in 4th to start his halfway distance, so 6 laps left to go in this one. Cam Saul is still battling away with Ollie Horner as they come across the line, split by 0.3 of a second. Then Harry Payne jumping up ahead of Greg Marshall. Harry in 7th position, Greg Marshall, Felix Dorling, as Greg's having a good run in 8th position. The 19 bike that is solidly inside the top 8.
Yeah, Mason Foster is absolutely flying them. That his best lap, 1.5 seconds quicker than anybody else out on circuit. He's got 5.8 seconds to Sorowiak and P2, and we know Sorowiak has a lot of pace this weekend. He's won the last 2 races, and he took so much pressure from Foster in race 1. Foster was just hounding and just could not find a way past. And well, this is what happens once Mason Foster is released. He's just streaking away out the front at the moment. This is a very, very strong performance already that we're seeing, and he's got a point to prove as well. As I said, just getting very unlucky with a tumble early on in race 2. Race 1 was just got resisted by a mighty defensive performance from Filip Sorowiak, but now he is free to rain out the front, and he is now 7.2 seconds ahead of Sorowiak as they head 5 laps to go. Now there is the 88 rider heading into the back section now, already lapping some of the riders down the back. I think that might be Ben Jolliffe. He's just lapped there, and he heads into the final corner, so we'll see the gap in a minute, but visually it is massive. Filip Sorowiak is about a corner behind now. That is a big old gap, and Mason Foster just absolutely flying out the front. We should see now as Sorowiak comes to the line, the gap will be around about 9 seconds, 8.13. There you go. So we're just gradually increasing every single lap. So Foster just flying.
Yeah, Foster, who's made a habit of winning in the greasy conditions. He did it back at Lydd last season, equally at Wilton Mill as well. And, well, he's cruising to the flag. Now, 4 laps left to go, 8.1 seconds. This is what we saw from Sorowiak in race 2, just streaking away into the distance. Filip, I'm sure, will be quite happy with a 2nd position. I'm sure everyone wants to win the race, but if you're not going to win, 2nd place will do. And the 75 who's got a big support. And well, we welcome everyone that's watching the stream wherever you are, or of course if you're listening live in the paddock, to give all these guys a huge amount of support and love in the comments, or of course at the side of the circuit if you are in the paddock. They are in the premier class of FAB as Clayton Edmonds makes his way up past Felix Dorling there, I believe, as he sweeps in towards the McRae's hairpin. And we get ready to go down towards Ardales as Ollie Horner is still tailing Cameron Saul. So that battle's been going on almost all race long as the 100 holds off the 70. And, yep, hopefully you've enjoyed this 5th round of the season, the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship with myself, Gareth Hall, and Ross McIntyre in the commentary box. Make sure you do all the good stuff you do on socials, like, share, subscribe, and let us know where you're watching, who you've been supporting, and if they've been successful. Well, it's always great to hear from you always. Cam Saul comes up to the line. It's 3 laps left to go for him to pick up a best result on the season. Ronnie Harris is still in 4th position, having a bit of a lonely race. He's somewhat catching Ethan Sparks last time around. He took a few tenths of a second out of him, but a 3.4 second gap between Ronnie and Ethan should see Ethan home on the podium. But Mason Foster, he's the one leading the way, comfortably ahead of everyone else on circuit. Really enjoying this almost transitional period of the circuit where it's starting to go from wet to dry, and Mason starting to put the power down at 50-60. The only rider that has been dipping into the 55s consistently on lap time all race long. Last time around was a 56, everyone else in the 57s. And, well, Philip Rowrah trying to close it in, but it's 10 seconds the advantage. Mason Foster, 2 laps left to go until we finish the MKGP 70s.
And what a weekend it's been for the MKGP 70s, as well as we've mentioned multiple times, Soroviak taking both race 1 and race 2. Race 1, we had an almighty battle between Soroviak and Foster. Soroviak getting the upper hand, just keeping Foster behind him with an amazing defensive performance. But now it is Foster's time to shine. He's got 10 seconds to the 75 of Philip Soroviak behind him. And there we can see Philip Soroviak on the screen there, making his way around the final corner. So the gap will have probably extended on that last lap, given the current trending events. And now it is 10.5 seconds. There were only a few tenths that last lap. Maybe Foster starting to run out of tyres, or just maybe realising he doesn't need to push anymore. He's got a big gap there behind him, so may as well just maybe ease at home. Then again, Mason Foster, he's another rider who won't take no for an answer, as they are now on to the last lap of the race here in the MKGP 70s. And what of a performance for Mason Foster. This is huge for the championship as well, behind Ethan Sparks after that rubbish race he had in race 2, just going down so early on. Super unlucky as he winds through the final few corners now, and we've been waiting to see what he's capable of all weekend, and now we can see it's Mason Foster rounding the final corner to win here race 3 in the MKGP 70 class. What a performance from the 88 rider Philip Soroviak. Don't get me wrong, he's had an amazing weekend as well. 2 wins out of 3. He comes home in 2nd place and will take the biggest haul of points in the championship. It will be Ethan Sparks rounding out the podium as well, but Mason Foster take a bow. What a ride we have seen today.
Yeah, statement win there for Mason. Exactly what he needed in the MKGP 70s. Well, he was 3rd in the championship yesterday to Lucas, last season to Lucas Brown and Johnny Garness this time around. Well, he's hot on the heels of Ethan Sparks. It is going to be mighty, mighty close going to Ella Park. Philip Soroviak, well, 2 wins. He broke the wind duck that he was suffering with. And, well, he is your overall class winner in the MKGP 70s. He will be absolutely ecstatic. And well done to Mason, well done to Philip, and equally well done to Ethan Sparks. Cam Sewell, best result of the season for him, back in 5th position. He held off Ollie Horner, with relentless pressure all race long, but Cam Sewell manages to hold him off. So well done to the 100. He has done himself a credit there, a top 5 result for him. Clayton Edmonds comes home in 6th position with Harry Payne in 8th position. Greg Marshall and Felix Storling are your 9th and 10th finishers. Then we had Ben Jolliffe and Charlie Huntingford. Charlie, unfortunately, a couple of issues with the bike, comes home in 12th, and unfortunately, Paddy Moore pulling off to the side off the circuit and non-finishing in that one on the 145. And, well, that is the MKGP 70s done for the weekend. They will be back in 6 weeks' time at Ella Park for their 6th round on the season. And it's starting to get good, isn't it? It's starting to heat up. This is what we love to see in the 70s, exactly what we saw last season. Will it go down to the final race like we saw between Lucas Brown and Johnny Garness? It's going to be Mason Foster and Ethan Sparks. Can Philip Soroviak reel in the points and make it a 3-way battle for that title? We will find out. So you will have to stay tuned throughout all of the rest of the racing this season. Ella Park and Llandau in South Wales to come. And, well, Rowrah, it has been, as we were getting a big wave there from the guys at the side of the circuit. Great to see everyone enjoying yourselves. My name is Gareth Hall, joined by Ross McIntyre in the commentary box for this one. And Ross, it's been your debut weekend here at FAB. How have you found it?
Well, I found it all right. It's been, I've had my few little moments, of course, but overall it's been a great weekend of racing here at FAB, as I've come to expect from watching along at a few of the races earlier this season. And as the sidecars head out now, Gareth, I think you're a bit more qualified to talk about these than I am now. It's been my thing to kind of talk about how cool these things are, but now you've been on one. So why don't you tell us about your experience as we wait to go on the green flag line?
I can honestly say it's one of the most exhilarating things I've ever done. It was absolutely mega. A massive thank you to the 76 of Adrian Ems and to John Hosker as well. Unfortunately, John Hosker's bike, we got a lap done. I thought, oh, it's going really well. I'm starting to move around on the bike. I'm starting to put it on all the right places, and then the bike just conked out. And so Adams came in and made up for it by firing me around the circuit. And luckily, well, I just about managed to hang on. I was wearing karting boots, which is probably not optimum when you're standing on a metal plate that's wet, because I was sliding all over the place. But yeah, honestly, I've never done anything that physical. I've been on a Rotax car. I've driven an F4 round Brands Hatch, and that was something else. I have a completely new respect for all these passengers. It's a real leg workout and a very, very physical. It looks a lot slower than it actually is when you're on it. It was the acceleration is something else.
Well, it's good to hear you had a good time, and you didn't need to wash the leathers afterwards, which is always a positive. And it will be Mick Williams starting from pole position. Of course, Mick Lay starting alongside Mick Parker and Jason Greenstreet rounding out the second row. Then Adrian Ems, your new favourite person in the world, is in P5. They had a great time out last in race 2. Adrian and Chloe managed to get up to P2 after a phenomenal start. Then it's John Hosker in P6 and Dave Glover rounding out the grid in P7. And, well, we've had 2 very fun sidecar races. You've got a newfound appreciation for them. I'm sure we are getting ready for a third.
Yep, there's an empty space on P2, and, well, maybe I'll put one in there eventually. But, well, here we go. 4 race 3s. It is the 26th. Your, well, almost unbeatable Mick Williams. What can he do? Is a jump start there from the 90 of the Green Street. Are they going to slow back and hold back? No. There we go. They do. So they do hold back and allow 8 M's up into P2. There's Mark Parker is going panel to panel with the Green Street, and it is so difficult, especially in these early stages of this race. You've all very close quarters with each other. You don't want to get out and get in someone else's way. You can see there the Green Street's getting pushed around the hairpin by the 230 of Mark Parker. John Hosker on the 127 equally trying to get involved in this battle, and they've been drifting around this hairpin all weekend long. And there's Dave Glover on the 3 machine behind, and he's holding into 6th position, the Green Street. And you can see the different kind of styles that you see from these sidecars, and this is something I found with the 76 compared to the 127, is the 76, the Claire Ems, when she's on it, I don't know how she does it, because there's a big panel on the left-hand side that she's got to lean over, and compared to the 127, it's very easy, as you see there, just sweeping yourself out and putting the knee down. That was a lot easier to do, but Claire, well, I did say afterwards, it's one of the most physical things that I've done, and I have a very much newfound respect for what she does, because somehow she manages to make that thing go very quickly. And here comes the 127 trying to make a move on the 230. Not quite close enough this time, but that was very, very close as the sidecars all thundering their way down towards McRae's hairpin. 5 laps left to go in this one, a slightly shorter race for the sidecars, because trust me, by the end of it, the adrenaline and your legs do not want to work. I barely got 3 laps out of it before I wanted to fall apart.
Well, it's, as you said, very, very physical for both the rider and the sidecar. Plus, just something about the car that was the bike that was supposed to be on P2. It was Mike Lay. Again, he didn't come out and race until the last 2 laps. They were trying to get the bike working up the top in the dummy grid, and looks like they're not even there this time, so it looks like they've not even bothered showing up, so clearly that's a terminal for their weekend. Unfortunately that they're not going to get out in the bright yellow 44, but I'm sure they've still done their best across the weekend, and while it's a shame to not see them out there, it has allowed Adrian Ems back up into P2 after once again a spectacular start for the 76 machine. Mick Williams there with the fastest lap of the race, a 103.936. Were we really expecting anything else from the dominant Red Bull liveried 26 bike? But yeah, Adrian Ems again in the 76. Yeah, Ems pairing of Adrian and Chloe doing a phenomenal job on the starts again, just getting the jump down the inside and getting up to P2. We saw that in race 2 in the wet, and now we're seeing it in the not quite dry race 3. Yeah,
Adrian and Claire doing a fantastic job getting that start, and well, once again getting that rocket ship of a launch off the line into P2. Well, there is your leaders, the 26, and as I said in race 2, they come back with their trophies at the end of the season and hand them back and just say, well, we'll give them back because we're picking up too many. You might as well just recycle them getting ready for next season, because it is they are so dominant on the machine. And the 26, they work in tandem. You can see it's not just the passenger that moves his body weight around, it is Mick that you can see into every corner. He'll be leaning left to right. It is so crucial to keep all 3 wheels on the track surface. As soon as you lift a wheel, that's where the bike starts to get light, and that's where it starts to go around. And you can notice the different passenger stars. Some will lay almost completely across, some will lean very, very slightly out. You can see the green streets almost leaning completely horizontally across the side of the bike. Some just leaning out, just putting a shoulder down and hoping that it will stick to the circuit. But it's been great to see these guys. Great to get to know them a lot better, and equally, obviously, a huge well, a lot of respect goes out to them, and a big thank you, everyone. Very, very welcoming Sidecar community. They've said that we're more than welcome, and Tristan as well, to get back on the Sidecars back at Ellen Park. God, I don't think I can turn down that offer. What a thrill it was, and you've got a bit of heritage with Sidecar racing in your family, so you can see just how crazy these people are.
Oh yeah, they're totally insane on the sidecars. I mean, obviously you now know that. You had the kind of bit of a lean out style because you didn't want to get your face about 2 centimetres off the ground. I mean, our colleague Tristan had the I'm going to sit here like a statue style, so that doesn't really work, funnily enough. But yeah, as you can see that the green streets are really leaning across. The guys in the sidecar, they are just absolutely mental. If you watch like a full-size sidecar race, it is insane because obviously they're big, big bikes, and they can go stupidly fast in a straight line. And you've just got a guy hanging off the side of it in a corner. They're not strapped in or anything. It's literally just a metal plate that you sit on, and there's 2 bars, and you hold it, and then you're leading through the corners at ridiculous speeds. You watch them at the TT, and you think, that's a lamppost like 2 centimetres from your head. How are you doing that? There is the man which Gareth thinks has the best sidecar, John Hosker in the 127, because apparently it's got a nice and big metal plate.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to move around. I would say if I was wearing a pair of boots, it might be a bit easier to grip myself on them, but they are all superb machines, a lot of fun, and honestly, if you do get a chance to if you see, there's one for sale, buy it and get involved. The sidecars is a fantastic category. There's Dave Glover down in 3rd position, in 6th position on the 3 bike, sorry, but yeah, the 126, it was a little bit easier to be a passenger on, a little bit easier to move around and to hang out and feel like I was a bit more of a pro rather than just a complete scaredy cat that didn't quite know what they were doing, just wanting to look the part. But there are 2 people that do not look anything other than complete professionals. It's the 26 on the final lap, making their way around McRae's hairpin to Ardale's hairpin, taking a bit of a glide and a bit of a slide out of the hairpin, powering up the back straight. And Mark Williams once again doing exactly what we've seen from him all season long, yet to finish anywhere but on the top step of the podium. And they are coming around the final few corners, and they once again just make it look so effortless. They work in tandem so beautifully well. That bike always seems to be working in absolute symphony with how they are as well. Into the final corner, final time for the weekend for the sidecars, and it is the 26. 2-time winners this weekend is about to become 3. As there we go, to the checkered goes the 26, and they are your winners in race 3 for the Mini F1 sidecars. 2nd goes to Adrian and Claire Ems, and the green streets in 3rd position, picking up a podium. Fantastic result for them, and I'm sure they are all quite happy to go take those leathers off. I tell you what, actually, taking leathers off is almost as difficult as being on a passenger. That was the thing. I had to give you a hand pulling them off. Yeah, we've not got a lot of space up here in our commentary box. So it was a bit of a tight squeeze, but you managed to get them off. But the leathers are hardcore as well as the bikes. Yes, so big thank you out to the entire sidecar community, and of course John Hosker and Adrian Ems for being very, very hospitable and allowing me to take those passenger rides. They will hopefully be back at Ella Park, and they have had a mega season. Really enjoyed it, and that is them done for today, so they can pack up and take a well-earned drink, I'm sure, as they get ready to head off back down the M6 towards the south. Of course, Aidan Ems going back down to Newcastle upon Lyme, and the Green Street's back down to Swindon, so almost just down the road from me. So yeah, great to see. Our final race of the weekend will be the Extreme 200s and the moto teams, and it's been a cracking weekend's racing we've had so far. The Extremes have had a good one, and the moto teams, so far it's gone the way of Jason Pugh. He's taken 2 from 2. He said on Saturday morning, I went 2 from 3. I want 3 from 3 this weekend. Well, he's got one more race to do so. We've just been joined by Jamie King once again. So, welcome back, Jay. As says Jay, tell us, unfortunately, bit of an issue in race 2 in the pit box.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a frantic day today. I felt I had the pace to win that race. Morning warm-up went really well, and I wasn't pushing at all, and we were third. So in the race, I got a bad start, and second lap, a bit overcooked it, and the bike's not in the best of condition. Let's put it that way.
Picking up the pieces, we saw you kicking and throwing the pieces over
more
to the side.
importantly, you destroyed our Motorsport Radio onboard camera as well, which, massive travesty.
We'll keep that quiet because that's my boss's GoPro. But your transmitter's not in the best of condition either. Leicester won't be pleased.
Well, obviously it was a bit of a shame for you to go out of race tonight, but race 3, a fantastic performance as well, and a very underpowered 125. I don't know to be embarrassed or to be happy that the best result of the season in the 140s came on the 125. But it was brilliant. Obviously they were probably more trickier conditions than what the full wet was, because it's really greasy now. I've told Josh now just to bring it home because Josh crashed 3 times I think in the first moto team race, and I said, just bring it home because my garage is going to be like a scrapyard when I get home.
Yeah. Well, it is the final race of the day. Is the Extreme 200s and Moto Team category as they go off their green flag lap. And we've got Bernie Hook due to line up a pole. Whether he does or not, I'm sure we
haven't even got Reese this race because he couldn't fix his bike in time after the 140 race that he crashed in.
So we're going to have Owen Mellor on de facto pole position. Nathan Riggy in what he will be second.
He's not in it.
Oh, there we go. This is what happens.
So it's going to be basically the Extreme is just Sean Whittaker and Dylan Mellor, is it? Is it Dylan or Owen?
Dylan. It is Dylan for this one. There you go. So
there's only 2 Extreme out there, the rest of the moto team.
Well, that'll make it easier for us, of course, everyone wanting to shoot off home a little bit earlier as well. So, then you've got Sean Whittaker and, of course, Josh Birkin riding Jamie King's bike. Ian Jackson, Harrison O'Keefe, Ashley Thompson, Mark Pollitt, Reece Todd Brown, Phil Mapplebeck, Iona Glover, Phil Joyce, Charlie Ems and Elliot Newton rounding out the Moto Team grid here for the Extreme 200 and Moto Team category. Final race of the day here from Rowrah. It's been a fantastic weekend, hasn't it, Ross? Really enjoyed this one. And, let's send it off in a big one.
Oh, yeah, I think that'd be the correct thing to do. As you can see there, the front row of the grid looking rather empty as barely anyone showed up at the Extreme 200 class. But here for what we believe to be the final race of the weekend. We're still not sure whether the senior mini moto guys are going to head back out again after this for their de facto race 1, which is the 3rd race of the weekend for them. But here we are. It's the final race of the weekend, possibly, for the Extreme 200 and the Team Moto.
Come on, Josh.
And as the red light's about to come on now, it's a bit of a shortened grid, but that won't take away from the action. The lights go out and we are underway. It's a great start for the 30, and again, great start for the 8 as well as we head into turn 1. All looks clean away as we start to head through turn 1 on the trying track. We all look a lot cleaner than race 2, which is a great positive to take.
Yeah, great start there from Jason Pugh up into 2nd position. Josh Birkin filtering into 4th position there. And, well, as you said, Jay, in race 1, it's his first real attempt in anger on a geared bike. And how's he found it?
Yeah, he's really enjoyed it. He says he finds it a lot easier to ride than mini moto. He says it's nice to have room on a bike, so he absolutely loves it. He said, I don't know if I've converted him enough to buy one, but he's pleased with how he's gone, and I'm happy with how he's gone as well.
Well,
so.
he's probably got a few more bumps and bruises. If you go down off one of these, there's a little bit of a further fall than we've seen in mini moto. But he's done a great job on it to recover with the falls. He can get back onto the podium, and he's taken you a decent haul of points in championship.
Yeah, we haven't lost too many on Jason. The aim was that we can go to Ella and maybe clinch the championship there. So that should be done. I've just got to keep my nose clean at Ella.
Well, is Dylan Mellor now leading the way. Jason Pugh in 2nd position. Sean Whittaker in 3rd. Jamie King's bike, which is ridden by Josh Birkin. Ian Jackson, Phil Mapplebeck, Reece Todd Brown, Phil Joyce and Iona Glover. Elliot Newton, the 2 riders from Scunthorpe in 9th and 10th position to cross the line, and they do split by 6/10 of a second. Jason Pugh, he's looking very racy, isn't he, on that aim mission? He was looking for 3 out of 3. It's going to be hard to beat him in this one.
Josh has actually gone with him slightly this race, so Josh is big gutted. He should have won the first race today in the wet. He was a lot quicker than Jason. He just couldn't get past. Got a bit angry and unfortunately crashed. I know Sean is on intermediate tyres. I've put Josh out on full wets, and I know Dylan Mellor is out on intermediates, but he's out on brand new intermediates, so I think they're the perfect conditions for them tyres with the very thin dry line.
And how different is it for someone out there on full wets compared to someone on
I think this sounds bad, but I just couldn't be bothered to change the tyres for the last race, so it's definitely intermediates. they are going to start chewing up the wets a bit now, but I've told Josh to aim for the puddles.
And Josh is obviously riding your bike this weekend because he won a competition from your YouTube channel. You're running it again
for the last round. The last round at Landau, yeah. It has already been drawn out, but I'm not 100% sure if the person who won it is going to turn up. So I'll find over the next couple of days if he is going to do it, and if he doesn't, I'll do the draw again. It could be one of you guys that could win it.
Well, yeah, anyone can be involved. Of course, check out Jay's YouTube channel. Always a good watch for the behind the scenes of everything from Fab here at the Pit Bike 140s, and of course up on the BSB paddock, as well as Jason Pugh as he's making his way around ahead of the 12 of Sean Whittaker. Sean, who's really turned it up in the last few races on the 12 bike. He had a good run on the pit bikes. He's having a good run here in the Moto Team Extreme 200 race as well. Dylan Mellor last one around. Of course on Dylan and Sean, the only ones on the Extreme 200. 58.6 there for Dylan Mellor, and it is a 59.5 for Sean Whittaker. So you can see that Dylan really starting to open up that gap, 4.1 seconds, but it's a good run. Jason Pugh at the moment holding off one of those extreme runs.
Yeah, he did. Jason Pugh's doing a great job on that number 8 bike. He's really pushing super hard, and Sean Whittaker behind him just can't really do anything. Jamie King's bike as well, as we've been talking about, ridden by Josh Perkin this weekend, doing a solid job in P4 overall, P2 in the Moto Team class. But yeah, Jason Pugh is doing a very solid job up there in P2 overall, P1 in class. You can just see they're just doing everything he can to hold off Sean Whittaker. Sean can just do nothing, just cannot find the gap to get past that Moto Team number 8. And as they just make their way round into the back end of the circuit, he's just looking, he's looking. There's just no gaps available. Jason is just doing everything right. You can see there the battle further back in the race.
This is for the standard Moto Team class battle.
Yeah, so it is side by side as well. So those two involved in that battle. Great to see. It's not just one category, of course, it's almost 3 categories now involved in this racing. And of course, we've had the likes of the PB 140s with the Rookies Cup as well. Matt Lindley went down in that one, just in front of that.
Yeah, he's a bit gutted. I run a Rookies Championship in the 140s, and he's leading that at the moment. So, but he got an overall 3rd in the first race today, and he was looking to get a 2nd in that one, but just pushed a little too hard. Like I said, the conditions are really treacherous now.
And tell us a little bit more about these conditions where it's not quite wet, it's not quite dry. How hard is it to ride the bike?
It sounds stupid because it's dried out more, but it isn't. It's because the track it hasn't got that layer of water on it now. It's more slippery because it's just greasy where the track's drying out. So yeah, these are the worst conditions for a rider. Just these in-between conditions.
And do you find yourself adjusting your lines throughout the corner? You're almost hunting that dry line.
Yeah, kind of. Well, it depends if you're on the inters, you kind of look for the dry lines, but if you're on the wets, you try and aim for the puddles because you don't want them to overheat. So yeah, it really depends on the tyre choice. It is very hard to obviously make the tyre choices as well for these conditions.
Well, 6 laps to go in this final race of the weekend, the Extreme 200s and Moto Team. And I think it's the first race today we've seen with no one gone down so far, which is...
you never know.
Well,
still 7 laps to go, 6 laps to go.
This is what I say, is I say it and then it happens. So I'm always precursor. But it is Dylan Mellor leading away. Dylan, who had a bit of a shocking race 2, will be looking at coming back and getting a better race 3. Well, the 31 leading away now, 6.2 seconds ahead of Jason Pugh. Jason, who's holding that lead now, 1.2 seconds ahead of Sean Whittaker in 3rd position. Jamie King's bike, which has been ridden by Josh Birkin, in 4th, and Ian Jackson holding on to the back. In fact, Josh is doing a good job at the moment, dropping Ian Jackson, 8 seconds behind?
Yeah, so I said to him, stay on. If a 2nd and 3rd, that's what you're going to get, then that's what you're going to get. So a 2nd is lovely. Not losing too many points on Jason in the championship.
So tell us a little bit more about the championship, about Moto Team and how people can get involved.
Moto Team, we have our own Facebook page. Obviously, it's called Moto Team. Everyone in the group is helpful. So if you're looking, there are a lot of Moto Team ready bikes out there. The people have already they race it in another championship called the Free Tech Championship, and all of those bikes are eligible to come race in Moto Team. There are going to be a few rule changes next season to make those bikes at the Free Tech Championship more eligible for this, so they have more of a chance. So we're hoping to see the Moto Team grids a lot bigger next season.
Yeah, and Moto Team has really thrived since it became its own race. Of course, the Extremes have been put in with them in the last 2 rounds due to a bit of the majority of the Extremes running up at the BSB paddock for the last 2 rounds or so, as they've been up at Donington and Thruxton. But this time around, Moto Team have really opened up, and Jason Pugh, well, he's leading away in that category, 2nd on track. and first in category. Dylan Mellor, last time around, fastest lap of the race of 57.7. 4 laps left to go in this one. Looks as though he's going to come easily.
Still a good battle for the standard class win here.
And what's the difference between the standard and the stock and the open class?
A standard moto team bike is literally what you could go buy from your dealership, a standard 125. So that could be a Yamaha, which we see leading here, or Phil that is on a Honda, but you can also have the Aprilia, you can have the Suzuki. The Suzuki is very popular at Free Tech. The KTM, even any of the Chinese makes as well. So it's just a bike that you can buy from the showroom, you put race fairings on it, and that is it, away you go. The one that Jason's on is obviously you can tune them up and do a bit to what you like to them.
Yeah, and these guys, as they see...
they're not going to get out of the way, are they?
They're involved in their own battle as Dylan Mellor just sides around the outside of him. No worries at all, he's just out there cruising around. He's got 3 laps left to go of this one. And yeah, as Jay said, just check out this, going to the website, check out the regulations and the registration entry details. You can go to FAB-Racing.co.uk. Of course, check out the Facebook page as well, where you'll find some very helpful people asking, or well, answering your questions. So yeah, motor team, fantastic category. We've seen a lot of riders enter it and stay in it for a long time. And down the inside there goes the 30 and gets the move done, just lapping his way throughout the rest of the field. And this is something that we've seen the pit bikes and moto team have to deal with, is getting caught up with lap traffic. So how is it, especially when you've got these pit bikes on circuit, we're kind of blessed in a way that we've only got 10, because usually you're used to seeing 30 or 40 of them. It's
tough on a lot of tracks. It's not so tough at Rowrah, because I find it one of the easier ones to pass at, because you've got the 2 hairpins, and it is probably one of the longer tracks we go to. But the tracks like last weekend or few weeks back at Clay Pigeon, where it's a very short lap, it is difficult because you catch the back markers so quickly. But yeah, Rowrah's not too bad with the slower riders.
And we head over to Ella, your local.
Yeah,
next
can't
time.
Wait.
You're looking forward to picking up some more wins. You were stoked last season.
It's going to be tough in the 140s. We'll have Rossi back obviously in the 140s at Ella, so it will be tough. But hopefully we have some more mixed conditions, and this time I won't destroy the bike.
Absolutely so. Well, on to the final lap goes Dylan Mellor.
Cruising it.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly what we saw from Taylor Lawrence in the pit bikes, just looking behind, trying to see if there's anyone around him. Doesn't even need to have 2 hands on the handlebars. Quite happy just to move around the circuit.
It's nearly dry now, you can see, isn't it?
Around the back end of the circuit, and the breeze clearly clearing up the majority of the standing water. And, well, a few more corners left to go for Dylan Mellor on the 30 machine to come home and take home the victory here in the Extreme 200s. The other Extreme is down in 3rd place on the track. That's Sean Whittaker, but it is Dylan Mellor that is looking at picking up the victory. Checkered flag is out, and Dylan Mellor is about to take it. There we go. Race winner. Final race of the weekend here at the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship, 5th round at Rowrah. We now wait for Jason Pugh.
A long wait.
Yeah, it is a long wait, but Jason Pugh, he was looking for a hat-trick. He's got a hat-trick. He hasn't looked behind. He thought he was a bit disappointed last season when he only took 2 for 3. Well, this time around it is 3 for 3, and it's Sean Whittaker in 3rd position on circuit. However, it's Josh Burke in 2nd position in the Moto2 class. You've got to be pretty happy with how Josh has done.
So that was 2 seconds and a 4th. Yeah, I would have taken that at the start of the weekend for someone who's not really ridden geared bikes before. So excellent work by Josh.
Yeah, absolutely. So well done, Josh. Looking forward to seeing Josh back on the seniors, and perhaps he's even got the taste for a geared bike. We'll see him next season. Perhaps a little bit more out of pocket with a new bike in the back and on tow. But Ian Jackson there, 3rd in class in the Moto team. Then Phil Mapplebeck, Reece Todd Brown, Phil Joyce, Elliot Newton, and Yona Glover in 10th position. And that ends the racing here from Rowrah for this weekend. What a weekend it's been, Ross.
Oh, it's been an amazing weekend. Obviously, as you said, couldn't have picked a better track to make my Fab debut at in terms of commentary. We've had action galore. Of course, the rain today really spiced things up as well. But even without it on the Saturday, you know, it's such a picturesque circuit with the wind coming in. It's just crazy racing left, right and centre. It's a track that creates opportunities. The weather has been kind to us, well, not kind to us in terms that it's raining, of course, but kind to us in terms that it's created some amazing on-track action. And even across the Friday and the Saturday, you know, when it was nice and sunny with a little bit of wind, it was just awesome to see here. And it's been a great weekend here at the Cumbria Kart Club here at Rowrah, and a great way to cap off the 5th round of the FAB-Racing Championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for Jay for joining us for commentary of that one. Hopefully the bike is well, you've got a little bit of work to do. You've got a while now. You've got 6 weeks to wait. So.
Yeah, I'm glad we haven't got this short gap, because it would have been a bit tight. But yeah, look forward to seeing you all at Ella, and great job as always, guys.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much. Well, that is Jamie King leading the way in the Moto team class. He'll be back at at Ella Park. Well, you can join us on the weekend of the 25th and 26th of September for the Moto Technics Round 6 at Ella Park in East Anglia. But thank you very much for joining myself, Gareth Hall, and Ross and McIntyre. Thank you, and well done, Ross. You've done a fantastic job in your debut weekend. Really enjoyed your company. And, well, thank you very much, everyone, and equally to the race marshals, the medics, the stewards, and everyone in the directing box that's got everything done, and the cameramen. We'll be back in 6 weeks' time for Round 6 at Ella Park.
Let's go! The official BSB Partner Series. This is FAB-Racing. Yeah. Let's go! The official BSB Partner Series. This is FAB-Racing. Yeah.